Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, trades have been happening all over the NBA with their trade deadline fast approaching at the end of the week. First, the Lakers, Mavericks, and Jazz work out a three-team deal that sent Luka Donic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to L.A. Dallas got Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick, while the Jazz got Jalen Hood-Schifino and two 2025 second-round picks. Then the Spurs, Kings, and Bulls worked out a three-team deal that sent De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin to the Spurs. The Bulls got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and a 2025 first-round pick. The Kings got Zach LaVine, Sidi Soko, and three first-round picks and three second-round picks in that deal. Your Oregon Ducks basketball team fell out of the AP Top 25 rankings after losing both of their games last week. Their next game won't be any easier as they travel to Ann Arbor to take on the 24th-ranked Wolverines. That game will be played on Wednesday here on 1080 The Fan. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch and
Hey, what it do?
Ahoy!
What's up?
I just found out Faye Vincent was still alive.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
He died.
Right as we were going on air, I looked up and I saw Faye Vincent, and then like the, they had the 1936, 2025. And I turned, and my first thought was, Faye Vincent was alive?
I have a very serious sports question.
Oh, we do. Look, coming in hot right now. Sports.
It's not very hot, but I am coming in.
All right, well, go.
Well, Faye Vincent died.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was still alive.
Nor did I.
So then I asked you, I said, hey, Bud Selig, alive or dead?
I thought dead.
Not dead.
Not dead.
He's alive.
He's 90. He looks dead.
Yeah.
Still alive.
So the question I would like to pose is, are there more living former U.S. presidents or more living former major U.S. sports commissioners?
Well, I do feel like the commissioners, like you said, they stick around forever.
Well, I don't remember an NFL commissioner not named Gary Bettman.
You mean NHL commissioner?
Or what did I say?
You said NFL.
Yeah, NHL. Sorry.
I don't either. Gary Bettman's been there forever.
And I assume he's still alive, although he may be dead and is still the commissioner.
He's still the commissioner.
I don't know.
And everyone hates him. He's 72.
Okay, so he's still in there.
He's still in there.
I can't even tell you another NHL commissioner. Before Manfred, it was Selig, and he's alive.
Yeah.
But before Selig, Faye Vincent just died.
Yeah, he just died. Although I would have buried him. If you would have asked me Faye Vincent and Bud Selig, that would have been a double dead for me.
Who was the NFL guy before Goodell? Tagliabue. Wait. It wasn't Tagliabue.
Wasn't it?
Was it Rozelle?
No, Rozelle was
before
Tagliabue.
Oh, shoot. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure that it was Rozelle. Or not
Rozelle.
I'm sorry, Tagliabue. It was Paul Tagliabue.
That's what I thought.
Yes. Who is dead, right?
I think he's dead.
I think he's dead.
Rozelle's dead.
Yes, Rozelle's dead.
Very dead. Yeah.
Yes.
He died in 1996.
Yeah, he's super dead.
Okay, Paul Tagliabue I think is dead.
Yes.
So Roger Goodell took over for Paul Tagliabue.
I believe so. I think he was one of Tagliabue's right-hand guys.
Yeah. He was an intern.
Yes.
Originally.
And then kind of worked his way.
Okay, Tagliabue is alive.
Get right the hell out of town.
Yeah, he's only 84.
No.
Yeah. So now we have two living.
I would have guaranteed you that he was dead. I swear, I think we eulogized him on the program.
We probably did.
Well, that is what we do. No, sorry. Hey, by the way,
so we have two.
Jim Thorpe was the NFL commissioner? Who had that?
Dead.
Yeah, super dead. Yes, very much dead.
So Jimmy Carter's dead. So we have G-Dub, Barack, Trump. Does he count because
Yeah,
he's back in office?
Yeah, he was former.
Because he was a former. Okay.
He's both.
And then we have Clinton, and we have
Because the other
Biden.
Bush died, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he's
So
dead.
we have 5 living former U.S. presidents.
Yes.
Am I missing anyone in there?
I don't believe so.
Is FDR still alive somewhere?
No. Well, Kennedy may be alive according to some, January 6thers.
Okay. So
I can't believe Paul Tagliabue's still alive.
Manfred, Selig, Fay, Giamatti, Peter Ubra. I mean, they're all dead
They're all dead.
except for
Yes.
Manfred. Okay. So we've covered every sport
I believe so.
except for who was before Tagli. Oh, no, we covered that. Who was before Bettman?
Who was before Bettman? Because Bettman's been there forever. I gotta look it up. Gil Stein, who, by the way, stepped down in 93. So Gil Stein's got to be dead. There's no way that Gil Stein's still alive. Because everyone takes over the commissioner when they're already old.
Here's Gil Stein. Yeah, very dead.
Super
Died in
dead.
2022.
Yeah, super dead.
So there are more living U.S. presidents than major sport commissioners.
Makes sense.
I would like to report that to you right out of the gate today on the show.
Why would you
Thank you.
ever?
Unless we're missing something.
Why would you ever give up that job? Because once you're a commissioner,
Well, you get turfed.
Well, but it doesn't really happen that much because really, here's the thing about commissioners. We can sit here and bitch and moan and complain about them, and certainly people do. Welcome to the world of the NHL. I'm wearing my Red Wing shirt today. Everyone hates Gary Bettman. But the commissioners don't really have any authority. The commissioners, all they do is they're just the face of the owners. So instead of hating all the owners, you just hate the commissioner. So as long as you kiss the ass of the 30 or 32 owners and do what they want, then you really don't get in any sort of trouble. Like, how many times do we hear people, railing on Goodell or, and whatever, and that he's, he has no real authority, and that the league is, it's a PR nightmare, but it doesn't really matter.
Well, it does.
He just kisses the ass of the owners.
Yeah, but it does matter if you fall out of the good graces of the owners. Ultimately, that is what happened with Bud Selig.
Yes.
They forced him out.
Yes. But my point is, it does not happen very often. Trust me. Like, as far as bad commissioners go, Gary Bettman is one of the worst, and he's been there since 93.
Hey, just make the owners money.
Exactly.
So do you know who the NBA commissioner was before David Stern? He's the guy who preceded Adam Silver.
Because Stern came along in the 80s, am I right? Because he's the one that oversaw...
1984.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's dead. For those that don't know, David Stern died.
Stern died. Yeah. Yes. I do remember that. Would I know him?
Yeah, you know the name.
I'll know the name. Why would I know the name? Is he
Because it is if I tell you why, you'll
then I will know.
it'll give it away.
So
But
something's named after him.
correct. It's Larry O'Brien.
Oh, well, the trophy
Of the famous Larry O'Brien trophy.
You know what? I can't say that I knew it was the Larry O'Brien trophy. I didn't know where that came from.
Larry O'Brien died in 1990.
Oh.
I don't even know if Will was alive
No,
in 1990.
he was
Ladies
not.
and gentlemen,
I'm a 97 birthday.
Will Ordner
Will Ordner,
in for Buckley.
who for some reason has decided to take his birthday off.
Yeah, very controversial. Can a grown man take his own birthday off for no reason? Because I pressed him on this, and I said, listen, it's one thing if you're going out, like going on a vacation, the wife's taking you somewhere or whatever. He's not doing anything.
No, he's just home.
He's not home. He was out hitting golf balls, which I think to him is a joy and a treat.
Yeah, probably.
Being away from his kids for an hour.
Yeah.
But
no, there's no trip. There's no nothing.
Can you do that?
Well, look, he's still putting together a birthday list for his parents that get him presents. Look, Buck comes from, which don't even get me started on how weird that is.
Excuse me? He's
Buck-
doing what?
Buck comes from...
His dad asked him what he wants for his birthday.
Yeah, and
he
Buck
just
puts
buys it.
together a birthday list like he's 12. And that happens.
He's
And
a
then-
privileged young man.
And that's the thing, is I think the difference is
And it
that
makes
we
me
don't
sad.
come from high-end white privilege like Buckley.
No.
And I think when you are in that world, the rules don't apply. He's doing his own thing.
Well, take a day. If you need a day, take a day.
Take a day.
It's just, in my world, that's always been. It's like, why your birthday? Really?
Yeah,
Like guys don't really care about that.
No.
But apparently Buckley does.
Yeah.
He's not the only one at the station. There's another.
Who else did that?
Well, Schultz is taking it off.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's taking his birthday off too.
Where's he going? But he doesn't work here full time.
He had a day that he was going to have. I don't know if he's going somewhere, but I do know he has the day off on his birthday.
Well, look. What's happening?
Nothing. Don't worry about
Oh, sorry, I thought. Well,
it. Keep broadcasting.
okay. Strange things were afoot. I just find it odd that, in general, that your birthday, after a certain point, and I'm going to say, Will, how old are you?
I'm 27, and no, I would not take my birthday off.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't this
I
year.
feel like 25 to 27 is about the time where your birthday as a man kind of stops mattering. And when someone asks you what you want for your birthday, the correct answer is to be left alone, don't spend any money, and maybe I go drinking. Like that's kind of the end of it. Or if you're doing I get it, if you want a golf trip or something like that, that's just an excuse for us all to gather and again do something fun and drink. But to actually take the day off and then celebrate you, I think Buck missed that by about 15 years because he's 40, right?
Buck's 40, yeah.
Yeah, that's
today.
That's too much.
Happy birthday to Ryan Buckley, our producer, who's not here. Yeah,
Here,
it's just,
thank you for a text line. It's my birthday today. I'm at work. I'm 35. Yes, because you're a grown man.
that's right.
And I'm assuming at 35 you did not give your father a list of things that you want for your birthday.
I have breaking news.
What do you got?
It's pretty intense.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready?
No, but let's do it anyways.
Peter Uberoth is alive.
What? Again. Super dead. Really?
He has not died,
How old is he?
according to Wikipedia. He's 87.
Huh. Again, never would have guessed it.
So we have 3 former living major U.S. sports commissioners. That's still fewer than living presidents.
Still hanging around. Well, we were talking about this the other day. I don't pay much attention to the old Mormon church leadership. It's been a decade or two. But I recently it came across my timeline, and I found out that the head honcho is 100 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Does that surprise you?
well,
Why would that surprise?
100?
What do you think he was like? Some 40-year-old upstart?
Well, I didn't know who
Come
it was.
on, dude. It's the church.
I didn't know who it was. So I looked it up, and I was like, oh, I kind of remember that guy. I'm like, he's still around? He's 100. And then I thought to myself, oh, I wonder who'll be the next guy. That dude's 94. And then I was like, who's next in line? He's 91. I was like, oh my God, combined leadership is like 300 years old.
Can
I was
I
like,
tell you
wow.
something?
Yeah.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
This is going to be a hot prediction.
Yeah.
When all 3 of those guys croak,
Yeah.
you know how old the next guy's going to be who takes over?
Probably 90.
Probably 90.
Oh, it just cut. There's
Thank you very much. That's a hot take. I know. Thank you, Will. Thank you, everybody.
It caught me off guard that you're like 90 years old and you're in charge of things. At least these commissioners are, I don't know, they're not in charge of anything. What's Peter Uberoth doing right now?
Yeah, I don't know, but he's 87,
Yeah.
younger than your church leader.
Yes. And he was in charge of the Los
that
Angeles
guy-
Olympic Committee as well. He's lived a robust life.
So that dude that runs your church,
Yeah.
he hung out with Joseph Smith then, huh?
Apparently, it's like 1,000 years old. It's like Methuselah. And by the way, he looks it too.
He's probably wise.
I would assume so.
I can't imagine what he thinks.
Eats a lot of applesauce.
Well, you don't think a 100-year-old old white guy has his finger on the pulse?
Jesus. Well, we press on.
So we press on, and I'm sorry to everyone that we killed off, because I feel like we killed off a bunch
Well, we
of
killed
people.
off Uberoth. We didn't even look him up.
No.
We didn't even give him the we didn't
no.
give him the, what would be the word? Like,
I don't know, the right to
The
even...
courtesy.
Yeah, the courtesy.
of even checking if he was alive.
At least we Googled some of the others.
Yeah. Not him.
We Googled that Gil Stein guy, but we didn't Google Peter Uberoff?
What was he the
Uberoff.
commissioner of again?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball?
He was before, let's see, he would have come before Selig, right?
Yeah.
Well, Manfred's going to live forever because he's going to be around forever, I should say, because he's going to be done at the end of this contract, and he's not that old.
Oh, wait. No. So it was Manfred, Selig, Faye Vincent. Vincent was there for a very short time. He was just the guy that stepped in. Giamatti and then Uber.
Oh, so
that's
dude,
why we had him dead.
Okay,
is because
so many.
The two guys before that came after him are dead. God, what a champ!
Go figure. By the way, he was a handsome man back in the day.
Do I need to look up Bowie Kuhn? Do I need to double check
I think we're
the
safe.
death of the?
I think we're safe on that one.
How do you know?
I believe so. Why? He's like 111.
Well,
When did he die?
2007.
Oh, I was gonna say like 1994. He made it longer than I thought.
Yeah. All right.
Ah,
Well, Buck will be back tomorrow. You want me to read you his day? I forgot about this.
he's got a day.
Yeah. Well, he sent me a text.
Rupp's his day planner.
What? Buck's? He's got his day planned out.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Holy Buckley. All right, I'm gonna reserve judgment.
Okay. 6:30 to 8:30. Wake up. Hang out with kids.
All right.
Okay. 9 o'clock. Take big boy to daycare. 9:30 to noon. Hang out with little boy. Noon. Grandma comes to hang with little boy. Starts making a prime rib dinner. Noon to 4. Work out and hit golf balls. That's where he is right now. 4. Pick up big boy. 5:30. Dinner with fam. More of this.
So that's his. That's
That's
the
his
day
day.
he took off.
Yeah.
All right.
And I told him, I said, well, wouldn't being on the show be better than that?
Yeah. No offense. But
No offense to your stupid kids, but that would be for me.
yeah.
And he said debatable, but no.
Yeah, well, I guess go Buckley. Look, we all know it's only a matter of time before his wife tells him he doesn't have to work anymore, and then he just becomes a house husband. He was for a while, and by the way, I'm very jealous of that. For like 2 years, Buck was a made man. He was a house husband, which I don't care what anyone says, dude. That's the sweetest gig in the world. Like, you give me all this about raising kids being the hardest job. Sorry, incorrect. As a wiser man than me once said, any job you can do in your pajamas is not the hardest job in the world. It's fantastic. You got DVDs, you got iPads, got Bluey to keep everyone, like entertained. Stop it. You're not on a real schedule.
You ready to start? You ready to do some sporting?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
What are you drinking?
That's an energy drink.
Coors Light?
I wish. And now I don't drink Coors Light. Stop that.
All right.
I'm offended whenever I go somewhere
good for Coors Light?
and I order a Coors and they bring me a Coors Light. That's not what I asked for. It's a big rub of mine. Again, if I ordered a Coke and you brought me a Diet Coke, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's the same thing. Get the hell out of here. If I wanted a Coors Light, I'd order a Coors Light, but that would never happen.
Sorry, you keep getting rubbed.
Okay, boomer. Am I right? Am I right?
Nice. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the young. Okay,
Coors
boomer.
Light.
You sound like an old man.
The mountains are blue, man.
Dude, get the hell out of here with
I
that.
don't think I bet you before you even mentioned that, I bet you that Will didn't even know what a Coors was.
Coors Banquet? Come on now.
Oh, okay. All right, just checking.
Come on, dude.
All right, I'm just checking.
Come on.
All right.
I still prefer the light.
Of course you do.
I'm just drinking water because I'm healthy.
You are healthy. Now, I have a massive caffeine addiction, so there you go.
Same.
Guys, it happened. It stunned all of us. Markeith Morris has been traded.
Couldn't believe it. Good rock chalk.
Back to the Lakers. All right, we'll get to that next on The Fan.
Slam
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
On 1080 The Fan.
You know, here's another Buckley conspiracy theory here. He is maybe using his 40th birthday as a guise for why he is off. You know, tonight's media night at the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Maybe he's doing bits
Wouldn't that be something?
for our show.
There's no way his wife would let him go to New Orleans.
Yeah,
No.
probably not.
No. That
Kids
dude-
are more important.
That dude's on a tight leash, let's be honest.
All right, well, it happened overnight.
It's kind of unbelievable.
When was this? Sunday?
This was...
Did we wake up to this Sunday? Or Saturday?
It
Sunday.
was Saturday night,
Saturday
right around
night.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So when we woke up Sunday,
Yes.
let's play the new fun game of how you all heard about it, because I heard about it by someone saying, and I think it might have been a social media thing, or it might have been on TV, but I think it was on social media, someone saying, can you believe we woke up on Sunday morning to a Luka trade? And I was like, wait, is he serious?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yes.
What?
That was mine.
And so then I went to Social Meds, and of course I found out that Luka Doncic was indeed traded.
Yeah. Again, like
To the
everyone
Lakers.
else, I just assumed it was a stupid, you know,
Ball sack?
like a ball sack sort of thing. And then when I saw that he was dealt to the Lakers, my first thought was, dude, what could they possibly give up to get Luka? And how many teams are involved?
And Bronny's got to be involved, right?
You would
That's
think.
probably the piece.
I mean, LA was like, whoa,
Bronny.
whoa, whoa,
Whoa,
whoa,
whoa. You want Bronny?
And then when I actually saw the deal, I must have sat there for probably 15 minutes and was like, no. And then I bet you I read about 8 different articles waiting for some sort of
strong no.
like logical path to how this happened.
Yeah.
Because
There isn't one, is there?
There isn't one.
That's the best part of this.
No, like I've watched enough Dateline and like crime shows. I always enjoy these things. And it's never any sort of grand conspiracy, right? When the wife dies, it's the husband, right? There's always the husband always has an affair, right? There's always a mistress. There's never any sort of great, weird grand conspiracy. And so it's like, clearly there is something here that you're going to look at and be like, okay, this is why it happened. It does appear that there was just 2 GMs that have been friends from Nike days from 20 years ago that just got together and seemingly gave the Lakers one of the 3 best players in the NBA. Like, there's no rational logic behind
there
this.
is. Of course there is. I mean, there's always, and just like you said, it's never going to be.
Yeah, one guy thought
earth-shattering.
Luka was a bitch.
Look, here's the fun thing. The fun thing is a blockbuster trade went down that no one saw coming. It sounds like the entire league, although I cannot be convinced that LeBron did not know that was coming.
According to him.
Yeah, well, he's full of crap.
Yeah.
Surely Rob Pelinka ran it by LeBron that he was going to dump Anthony Davis for Luka. Now, I'm sure LeBron was like, yeah, that's great.
Oh.
But I would imagine Pelinka told him to keep his trap shut.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't be convinced LeBron didn't at least have some sort of heads up. He may not have known that it was going down right then, but he knew something was good. There's no way they left him in the dark. Anyway, that's beside the point. The fun part about this is no one really knows why, because Nico Harrison can't say why. And so now what that does, as you well know, is it just opens the door to conspiracy theories right and left. And I got to tell you, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of them. But ultimately, hold on. Yeah. Ultimately, it's going to be a pretty simple thing that they will never admit to. And it is probably that, one, you alluded to Luka just being a pain in the ass and they didn't want to deal with him anymore. That's probably part of it. It certainly there was some smoke on that years ago.
They have forced out basically anyone that Luka liked in that organization. The last couple of years, they have gotten rid of, from strength conditioning coaches to trainers. They have, and Luke even said it. He goes, they get rid of everyone I like.
The only way this makes some sense, and it does tie into what you just said that he said, is that they knew he was going to walk. That's the only way.
But everything else you read is that Luka cried when he found out he had just bought a $15 million house in Dallas, and that there was and by the way, it was he cost himself $100 million with this.
Yeah.
The only place he could sign a Supermax deal was in Dallas. In fact, to me, it seems like 2 things. One, Dallas thought he was soft. They were pissy with him because they didn't think he was that dedicated, and they didn't want the owners cheap and didn't want to give him a Supermax deal.
Yeah, but I think Nico Harrison's a smart guy, And
Is he?
yes, I do. And I don't think
Because I don't.
And I don't think that he would have done this based just on that.
Well,
The only way they do, come on, we know, come on. The only way a player like Luka Doncic is traded in this situation at the age of 25 for a guy who's 31 and injury prone is if they are placing a bet that they can't keep him. That's the only way.
Okay, but then
Luka's probably full of crap.
And even if you buy
it's
that,
PR.
I want you to realize that 34-year-old Kevin Durant got Cam Johnson, Zaire Williams, 2 firsts from Phoenix, the New York Knicks first, Milwaukee's first, another first from Phoenix, New York's first, 2 Phoenix pick swaps, 3 more Phoenix firsts, a Brooklyn second, 2 Milwaukee seconds, and a Dallas second. At 34 years old, coming off Achilles injuries, Luka, who's just a little heavy at times, got Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and 1 first.
Well, here's the other thing. So that leads you to, I'm gonna go down the conspiracy theory road. That leads you to believe that Luka was like, dude, you have pissed me off. They don't like Luka. He wanted out of there, and the only place he wanted to go was the Lakers, and he said, we can do this the hard way, or we can do it the easy way. And the easy way is you call up the Lakers and you make a move, and at least you get something for me, or else, because here's the thing. Rosenberg, Michael Rosenberg, I think, Rosenberg. He's a writer for Sports Illustrated. He said this today, and he's exactly right. He said the problem with stars in the NBA is that they need you need them more than they need you, and they know it.
Yeah.
And Luka knows this, and so the franchise rarely has any control over a star, and that's why you see trades like this, is because the stars, they make demands. Now, it's not going to get out. It didn't get out, or at least it hasn't gotten out, but there's got to be something that explains a smart GM, and I do think he's a smart GM. He's a very, very well-respected guy before this trade, Nico Harrison. And he's the guy that brought in Kyrie. He got him to the finals. I mean, he's done a good job there. There has to be a logical explanation. And if there's not, he needs to be fired tomorrow. But we'll never know, because in the NBA, you're never going to get the true story. I would imagine Luka is playing this, oh, woe is me card because he wants to look good PR-wise. But ultimately, obviously, it soured between the two of them. There's no question about that, right?
No, yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah, because
the question is just what happened, and I'm guessing that's closer to it than not.
All I can go by is what I read, and it sounds like they didn't like his dedication. They didn't like that he got heavy, right? And yet he's still the second or third best player in the league. He took you to the NBA Finals last year, and yes, he's dealing with a calf issue again. So basically, you're just saying you're punting on a 25-year-old MVP, one of the 3 best players in the league, because you don't like his dedication, and you're trading it for a 31-year-old guy who you don't like the dedication and is hurt more than Luka is.
But there's no way that's the whole story. There's just no way, and you know that. So the question is what
then
is...
I'll wait for it to come out.
But it won't. It's not going to come out. So, and I would imagine it won't come out because all the parties, including Pelinka, are making sure that it doesn't. Because Nico called, from what I read, the only guy he called is Pelinka.
That's the part that I think is weird.
That's another part of this. I think that's even the weirder thing. I'm guessing somewhere in there, Luka said, dude, I know I'm up for the Supermax, but you guys have pissed me off right and left. You say I'm this, you say I'm that. I just got you to the finals. F you. I am going to sniff around in free agency. Okay, even if he just said that, okay, Nico's got to go back and go, well, dude, we might lose this guy and get nothing. So what do we do? Do we move? We don't like how he handles himself anyway. So why don't we just move him now? Now the only thing that I don't even have a conspiracy theory on, I cannot explain why they wouldn't shop around.
Yeah.
They only called Pelinka and told Pelinka to shut up about it.
Every GM in the league is coming out right now and saying, basically through their sources, that we would have offered so much more than this.
And wouldn't a logical explanation to that be that Luka said, all right, you son of a bitch, get me to LA? Well, wouldn't that make sense?
Well, that's what Dame did, and guess what? He didn't end up in Miami. The days of being able to pick where you go with the second apron and all that, that's kind of dead.
I don't agree with that.
I'm sorry. All I know is Nico Harrison, his legacy is going to be one of 3 things. One, the dumbass couldn't get Steph Curry's name right and botched the deal to Nike. He refused to pay Jalen Brunson $55 million over 4 years. Great move. And by the way, you just gutted a generational player that had just taken you to the NBA Finals that was 25 years old. I'm sorry, dude, that dude is a dumbass and this might go down as the worst move in NBA history.
I would agree with that statement. I don't think he's a dumbass. I think he had to do it. And I think he made a calculated risk to do it, and we'll never know why. But I just don't think anybody in the league makes that move without having to.
Yeah.
I mean, he was held over a barrel. This is what stars do. And I do think so. Lillard is way different than Luka. Those to me are two different, especially at Lillard's age. The Blazers didn't send him to Miami because Miami didn't have what they wanted in return. It turns out that the Lakers did.
Really?
Or
That's what you wanted?
Well, I think that's the best. I think Nico looked at this and went, "My God, at least we got something." This is a bad situation he was put in, I'm guessing. And I don't know if Luka said just LA or nothing, but it's pretty clear that guy isn't going to trade Luka Doncic without knowing Luka was 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
So we'll never know.
Nico's also been known to he has a love affair of Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
And his
That's
idea is he's gotten Kyrie back on the straight and narrow. And so you can have Kyrie, your star point guard, and now you have Anthony Davis, your star big. That was how you
collect a
used
bunch
to
of
win a title.
aging superstars.
Hey,
with attitude and injury problems, and put them all together and see what happens.
If your star has you over a barrel, yes, that's what you have to do. At least he bought 2-3 years. I mean, he could have gone young, which that's probably would have been the better, option. And opened it up and let people pay you $1 billion picks for
Luka. All I know is when you have to try to get ahead of a situation and nobody, and I mean no one, is on your side, you done screwed up.
Say again? What?
Nico is coming out and trying to spin
He
this.
looks terrible.
And he looks like
He
an
looks
absolute
terrible.
ass clown, and there's not a single person in that league defending him.
No.
That means you've stepped in it.
Of course he stepped in it, but I don't think he had a choice. If it comes out that he had a choice and they were fine with, and Luka was fine staying there and they were going to sign Luka to the Supermax, and that's the trade that he pulled off for Luka, and there's no other explanation. If that's true, dude,
well,
dumbest guy in NBA history.
Look at I'm saying,
and so I get why people are saying
even
that.
if he had to go, look at the deals that happened, like with Minnesota, right? And for Karl Anthony Towns, and look what the deals that happened for Gobert, and look at the deals that happened for Kevin Durant. And none of them, look at Anthony Davis, none of them can sniff Luka's jock. Yeah. And you got Anthony Davis and a 1?
Maybe he said Lakers or bust.
I guess.
Again, the stars run everything in this league. So there's another out in Dallas, there's actually a pretty juicy conspiracy theory floating around about this, because even there, they're like, we don't know what happened. What's going on? And we'll tell you about that one next. Here's Will.
This is a Super Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Sports Center is brought to you by Walken Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, your Oregon Ducks basketball team fell out of the AP Top 25 rankings after losing both their games last week. Their next game won't be any easier as they travel to Ann Arbor to take on the 24th ranked Wolverines. That game will be played on Wednesday here on 1080 The Fan. Over in Miami, despite asking for a trade from the organization, Heat star Jimmy Butler has made it clear to the Golden State Warriors that he does not plan on signing a contract extension with the team if they trade for him. This essentially stops any trade talks of Butler to the Warriors. The big trade over the weekend saw Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris heading to LA. Dallas, in return, got Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. The third team in the deal, the Utah Jazz, they got Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 2025 second-round picks. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions?
warrenallen.com.
On 1080 The Fan.
Hey, did you hear that promo for that radio show
Hot shredding talk?
during our show?
Weird.
It was a promo for our show
Who picked that promo?
during our show.
About
There is a basically there's a rotator, and I don't get to pick what plays out of the rotator. So even if I delete it, it goes back to that same
don't you think
ad.
Do you think that it's wise to have a promo for our show during our show?
I don't know.
Or do you think it's better to have a promo for other shows that people aren't listening to or maybe don't know about during our show?
There was one of those, believe it or not, for a different show.
Yeah, I'm just asking for a friend. I mean, I don't.
I just find it odd that someone thought our hot paper shredding conversation was promo worthy, but again, above my pay grade.
Why is that important? For porn, Dad.
You
Porn.
clearly don't listen to our promos.
No.
Very often.
No, I don't.
All right. Well, we're talking about Luka. He has been dealt. He is now a Laker. And F the stupid Lakers for falling up again.
I know. It's just
And now the post-LeBron Laker era is set.
Yeah, there's this idea. LeBron has been saying forever that this is Anthony Davis's team, but no one in LA ever bought that. And now, whenever LeBron decides to retire because he's immortal, oh yeah, by the way, you've got a 25-year-old MVP type player that just willed a very average Dallas Mavericks team to the NBA Finals last year. So, yes, welcome to being a Laker fan. It just Lakers and Dodgers it's unbelievable. The rest of there's no reason for the rest of the NBA and just the sporting world to collectively not just want to gag over this. And by the way, you call no one else? Like you're like, we somehow we got to get rid of Luka Doncic. We only call the Lakers.
I know who to call.
Call my friend Rob Pelinka.
Do you think that that will breed the NBA conspiracy theorists that they want the Lakers to remain good after LeBron, so that's why they traded him to LA? I'm
not a conspiracy theory guy, but if I was, I do think it's interesting that two friends from 20 years ago secretly got behind for the last 3 weeks and it leaked out to no one and you made the most lopsided dumbass trade in NBA history. Yeah, I would say that that's pretty. If this was a fantasy football league, no commissioner would let this go down. If this was this is two friends in a fantasy football league, or I guess, fantasy basketball, I'm assuming that's the thing, but fantasy football obviously has played more. And you were making this swap, no one would allow this to go down. Somewhere, David Stern is like, yeah, remember when you tried to do this with Chris Paul? Yeah, we chopped that ass. But here it just happens, and no one else was involved. It is so bizarre. I was reading today that Utah, who's the third team in this whole thing, they didn't know until a half hour before the deal was finalized who was actually involved. They just knew they were facilitating a deal between Dallas and LA. And when Danny Ainge found out about it, Danny Ainge was like, what? Huh? Even he didn't know. It's malpractice on the part of Nico. And by the way, if Luka is behind all this, then he is playing the greatest game of charades of all time, because his dad is coming out and absolutely blowtorching the Mavericks. The reports were that he was in tears. He just built a $15 million mansion. He cost himself how much money not being able to sign the Supermax anymore. If he really is the one that went to Dallas and was like, there ain't a chance in hell I'm coming back, and the only place I'm going in LA, then that is a unbelievable job of a smokescreen and keeping this thing quiet.
Well, it does happen. But I would say it's less likely that he said there's no way in hell I'm coming back, but it's more likely that he said, I'm going to go test, I'm going to see what's out there.
Yeah, maybe.
And when he does that, Nico's got a choice to make. It's like, oh, crap, we could lose him for nothing. In which case, I would still say, well, good luck, try it, because you still can offer him the Supermax, so you can offer him the most, which is like, what, $68 million a year or something like that?
He would have been the highest paid player in NBA history.
Clearly, I mean, it's very clear at the very least that there was serious friction between the two parties.
Yes.
Because otherwise they wouldn't have traded him.
Yes, and there's plenty
there.
of stories there over the last couple years that they have eliminated everyone around Luka. They were often upset. There was one line. I enjoyed this one. There was one line from a Mavericks executive that was like, how on earth do you play 40 minutes a night and gain weight? But
well, it's true.
I understand that they want him at 245. He plays closer to 255, sometimes 260, 265. Dude, he's a five-time. He's been in the league 5 years. He's a 5-time All-NBA player that just took you to the finals.
Yeah, no one's going to argue that. Again, this is where I go back. There's no way they're trading him, even with all the problems, unless they felt like they had to. And it is also doesn't add up.
Jalen Brunson then too.
Well, hold on. It doesn't add up to me that if he was, so apparently there's this thing that Luka was unhappy there because they got rid of everybody that he liked, right?
Yeah.
But yet he's so upset that they traded him.
Yeah.
That doesn't add up. So obviously it takes two to tango, and I'm not saying it's all Nico or it's all Luka, but clearly behind the scenes there is something between them that was it was broken.
Yeah.
And who is to blame for that? Or, could Nico have fixed it? Should he have gone a different route? We'll never know. Although somebody did say on the text line, they said, I find it hard to believe we'll never know because his reputation is staked upon this. Eventually, we are going to know, and we might.
Yeah.
Maybe Nico will write a book or something and tell you the real story of why he had to trade Luka. But I cannot be convinced that he just traded Luka.
Yeah.
There is something more going on. We just don't know what it is yet. Now, here's the rumor. And somebody on the Vancouver Fort text line texted this in. But I had heard this too in Dallas. The thing that they're talking about, one of the things that they're talking about, because nobody can make sense of it there either, is that the new ownership group, remember, Cube's sold.
Yeah.
He's a minority owner now.
And Cube's ridiculed this too, kind of.
Yeah. Well, he loved Luka.
Yeah.
But you also wonder if, there's a thing about this with Cubes is like, did he get out of it because of Luka? Or, you know what I mean? Like maybe Luka's behavior or whatever is going on with Luka drove Cuban to be like, you know what? I'm selling. Who knows why? Because that was kind of a weird sale. If we're being honest, why did Cuban all of a sudden just up and sell his majority stake of the Mavs? Now he's not involved much anymore, they say.
No.
But of course they reached out to him for comment, and he was like, dude, there is not a world in anywhere that I would ever have traded Luka.
No.
So he wasn't involved in this.
No.
But it's interesting. They have new ownership, and the scuttle is that they want a new arena and a casino there in Dallas, and they are starting to realize that it is not going to happen for them. And this was a purpose pitch from them to shake the money loose from the tree.
Wow. I mean,
In that case, it would be, Nico, here's what we're doing, and here's what we want you to do.
yeah, this is what we're doing.
And he can't say that.
Yeah.
So and that's just a rumor, but
it just feels like whether you're right, whether the conspiracy theory going on, nothing makes sense. And for someone that I tend to follow a very logical path of, there's usually a real sensible reason for most of these, and I just can't see it here. And no one else can either. I keep reading all these articles waiting for someone to kind of connect the dots, and no one really has. So maybe you're right. Maybe there's some sort of thing that years down the road comes out, the casino thing or whatever.
To me, it is sensible that if they felt like they weren't going to get him back, they would try to get something for him now. That to me is actually sensible. I don't know if it's right or if that's what happened, but that is a sensible explanation for why they would have traded him. I mean,
then you got the worst haul in the history of hauls for
well, that
one of the three best players in the NBA.
What that doesn't do is answer the question of why you didn't shop around.
Yes.
But that's where Nico comes back, and I listened to his
buddy.
I listened to his comments, and he basically just said, as Will said, he always loved Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
And his I can also see his thinking, if he is thinking, okay, we have to trade Luka, well, I'm going to get him to LA because I have a good relationship with Plinken. I think I can get Anthony Davis. That at least keeps us in a window for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. I can see that line of thinking too, as opposed to all of the, going around
you
shopping.
You didn't take LA's other first though. You just
again. No. I'm not saying he's the greatest GM. I just think he had, he wouldn't do this unless he had to. So we'll get to more of that coming up a little bit later. We have our Stockwatch coming up, and Chip Kelly, got traded
for a lot of money.
I mean, what is going on?
Yeah.
We'll get to that next on The Fan.
at warrenallen.com.
On 1080 The Fan.
The Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. John Bertrand is saying that if the casino rumor is true, why would you trade your star? That doesn't make sense. Dallas would then suck. Well, I think that's the whole idea. The whole idea with the Adelsons, I was just reading a little bit more about this. Is it the Adelsons, the Vegas people that bought Cuban's majority stake in the Mavs?
Yes.
They are not sports people. They don't care. What they did with the Mavs is a means to an end. Apparently, they want to build a giant
arena and casino.
Resort casino. And they believe that they've been spending a bunch of money with Texas lawmakers to try to change the laws in Texas to get this built. They believe Texas is the next big, I don't know if they're thinking Vegas, but the Adelsons are from Vegas.
Yeah.
This is the next big gambling mecca. Okay. So then they want to start in Dallas. Well, they are not making any headway with that. And so the idea with trading Luka is they are going to then, their next move in this battle is to threaten to move the Mavs to Vegas because Vegas is ready for a team. And they can't do that if the Mavs have Luka and everybody loves the Mavs in Dallas and they're going to the finals every year. So again, this is just I don't know how, it's a rumor. Okay, that's really all. I mean, there may be some fire to it, some smoke to it based on the people that report there, because you're seeing it from some credible people in Dallas that it is I mean, the casino thing, we know. That is a thing. They're trying to get that done. Now, this idea that they traded Luka in order to help them do that, that's speculation. But that could be the case because if the Mavs suck and continue to suck, the Adelsons can say, well, we'll just move him to Vegas. And then, of course, I don't think the NBA would ever allow that to happen.
They won't. And the reason why
but
is
they can threaten it.
They can threaten it, but the owners would never approve it because they're saying that when the NBA does expand to Vegas, not only are they going to make them pay the expansion fee, but they're going to make them pay up the you-know-what because it's Vegas. Some people are saying that could be a $7 billion to $8 billion buy-in to get a team to Vegas. And that money gets distributed to the other owners, and no owners are going to let someone waltz in and move their team from Dallas into Vegas and cost themselves splitting the pot of $7 or $8 billion. I do enjoy the fact that the NBA is like, oh, you'd like a team in Vegas? Yes, you will pay the $3 to $4 billion expansion fee, and then we'll double it because you're going to Vegas.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop the Adelsons from trying to get what they want.
Yeah.
And that's what those, I mean.
And you do have to remember, like what you said, apparently they are not basketball people. They don't care at all. In fact, Nico said that when he took it to the ownership, they were like, what? Well, we trust you. So that's the other one, too, is it kind of sounds like you have a bit of a Jody Allen absentee landlord situation.
With different interests.
And you've got a guy there that, maybe just kind of doing whatever the hell he wants without anyone really paying much attention other than, I don't know, can you make me understand it? Oh, sure, fine, here, sign off on it.
And someone else said, Nico's a certified moron and it's that simple. It very well may be that simple.
Yeah, and we'll find out.
I don't buy that.
We'll find. As you said, if Anthony Davis gets hurt or whatever, this thing falls, flat on its face, and in 2 or 3 years that's a laughing stock, then he's out of a job and probably never gets another one. So,
well, the other thing too we haven't mentioned, and somebody else mentioned that too, is and we alluded to it, but an issue with Luka. Maybe the issue with Luka is not correctable. Maybe he has something going on that they know about that they can't say, that everybody on the inside knows about, and to them it's untenable.
Could be.
I mean, there are rumors to that effect.
The idea that, and this is a line that came out from management there, is how do you gain weight playing 40 minutes a night? And there is the infamous one of Nico taking the beer out of Luka's hands.
Yep.
Oh, look.
I think it was Finley.
Was it Finley?
Finley took the beer.
I thought it was Nico. But
it was right after I think
it was getting to the finals.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And
he's drinking a beer.
And they went
and Michael Finley took it out of his hand because the cameras were there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, well, I mean, he's just celebrating, making the finals. Yeah. But perhaps that would lead some to believe that there was a bigger issue with booze that Finley knew about.
Well, and maybe that is.
And so maybe that could be it. As somebody else said, there's something going on. We just don't know what it is. And maybe we will find out, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
All right. Chip Kelly is headed to the NFL, and he will now be the highest paid NFL assistant.
Speaking of things that I don't understand.
This one. We didn't see this coming either.
Nope.
But yet it's the second most shocking thing of the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's odd too.
Besides the hot video of Marshall Manning in his arm.
The what?
Well, you haven't seen what's coming out of the Pro Bowl? There's only one video from the Pro Bowl.
Can't believe you watched the Pro Bowl.
Well, I didn't. All I saw was one viral video from Pro Bowl festivities, and it's of a freaking 12-year-old.
No, I didn't see this.
Peyton's kid.
Oh, no.
Slings the rock.
I didn't see this.
The next arch.
I've tried to block out the Pro Bowl. I did see some guys diving into a big foam pit. I saw that.
All right. We'll be right back with hour 2 of our program on The Fan.
McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, the Blazers are back in action. They're taking on the Suns at home in the Moda Center tonight. Phoenix is favored by 4.5. They are looking to get revenge on the Blazers after their loss over the weekend. Total for that game is set at 228.5. Tip-off at 7. Your Oregon Ducks basketball team, they're out of the AP Top 25 rankings. They lost both of their games last week. Their next game won't get any easier. They're traveling to Ann Arbor to take on the 24th ranked Wolverines. That game will be played Wednesday here on 1080 The Fan. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, The Fan's desktop player. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Slam Dunk in Vegas.
El Traidor.
The Fan.
Yeah, Super Week. You know what that means? The Super Bowl is this week.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Media Days today, right? Down in
Media Night.
The Big Easy.
Media Night. They do it under the lights now. It's a big thing, big to-do. All the zany comedians, like the guy we had in the other day,
Yeah.
Craig Gass, go down there and do funny bits.
Little kids interviewing people.
Well, I tell you,
the hots are out.
The hots are out, yeah. You and I have been together a long time, and I love what we do here. But I got to tell you, one of the best things about this job, at least our particular job, is that they have never sent us to the Super Bowl.
Rob's out.
I could not handle Radio Row. I just couldn't.
It's a lot.
I just couldn't.
Well, in the interviews of some athlete and he's there for jock itch cream, and it's pretty bad.
They're the worst interviews of the year.
Yes, and most of the time the player doesn't know the product that they're there for, and then at the end it's like,
so who's going to win the Super Bowl? Chiefs. All right, and then he gets whisked away to the next.
Yeah,
it's just a joke.
It's not great.
But I saw somebody who's at Funhouse that makes fun of Mike and the Mad Dog. You know.
Yeah.
They were saying today, I miss the days of Mike and the Mad Dog opening their Monday of the Super Bowl week show by saying, "We started all this.
Yes.
This is all due to us."
No one did it before them.
They were the first.
Yeah.
But now, like every sports radio show goes to the Super Bowl, and they all broadcast in the same giant room of sweaty, fat men.
And Jerry Rice gives 1,000 interviews.
I just can't.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we don't do it. Here, we're just playing fart sounders and going about our business.
It's probably best not to put me in New Orleans for a week anyways. That doesn't end well.
Right.
I promise that.
Yeah, New Orleans. Some spots better than others.
Yes.
But New Orleans, like if you're going to go to a Super Bowl.
Go to New Orleans.
Or Vegas.
Yeah.
It'd be one of those two.
Yeah.
LA would be good, but
LA is just the best part about New Orleans, and you hear it with the Super Bowl, is that everything is just so close that it's easy to get around and it's all kind of compact, where some of those other places it's spread out and it can be challenging to get places.
So if you're waiting for hot Super Bowl talk, we have it. Just probably not today. Because, we've already had a week.
Yes.
And we have another week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game.
Lots of hot Super Bowl talk. And I actually, I know kind of the American nightmare is this game, but I'm excited for it.
Why is it?
Because no one likes Philadelphia, and now the Chiefs are going to be nauseating. But
it's a great game
from a game standpoint. Absolutely. Do people forget that the last one was a 3-point game that Philly had a 10-point lead and minus a bad Jalen Hurts fumble and a horrific NFL rigged pass interference call against the Eagles that they beat the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, that was I remember that game being one of the more entertaining Super Bowls of recent memory.
Yes.
I don't know
I'm
why. I'm going through my head of all the Super Bowls recently. That one stands out. That one was bananas.
I don't know why we all poo-poo this. And even I get that the Chiefs find ways to win, but last year against San Francisco, 3rd and whatever, and they just decide to let Chris Jones go through. Otherwise, we're probably talking about San Francisco, being a Super Bowl champ. So these are going to be good games. It's not like Kansas City's blowing people out. This should be a great game.
Well, anyway, we'll have all week to discuss that.
Sports.
Chip Kelly is headed back to the NFL.
Speaking of which, I don't understand. They're giving him $6 million a year.
$6 million. He is going to be the highest paid assistant in the NFL.
Yeah.
Chip.
Which,
coming off it. That's what a national title does for you.
But, okay, let me just. Chip Kelly, let's be fair here. Chip came into the NFL and his offense, those first 2 years was really good. In fact, it was top 10 in most offensive categories. The problem was it wasn't very good against good defenses. The other problem about it is every year he was in the NFL, guess what happened to his offenses? They got worse. They're simplistic. They're not very good in protection scheme, which is ultimately why good teams were able to expose it and why it kept getting worse and worse. Then he goes back to college, and I'm not saying that Chip isn't a really smart guy. Of course he is. But does anyone think that Chip Kelly, when he came back to college, was anywhere near the same coach as the first time around in Oregon? Very bright guy, but his stuff at Oregon was lightning in a bottle, and he was ahead of a curve. And tempo and all that stuff really caught people off guard. But his offenses at UCLA weren't mind-blowing, and I'd make the argument that at Ohio State, while he was there, only the 1 year, for having the most talented team in the country, there was time that offense looked very, very head-scratchingly simplistic. So, look, win a national title, absolutely. Chip Kelly, bright guy. $6 million to go back to the NFL where you really haven't been a force since your first year in Philadelphia? Someone, Pete Carroll and Tom Brady, and look, those are two really smart guys.
Hey, will you shut up?
But someone explained to me why Chip Kelly is worth $6 million. I don't get it.
That was their guy. That's who they wanted.
And is that what they
makes
needed
me
to get him
sad.
out of Ohio State?
Yeah. See, Tom's playing chess because he went to Michigan.
Yeah.
Chip just won a title with Ohio State. You run the Raiders now, so just take him away from Ohio State to help Michigan. How about that?
It's just,
Chess, not checkers.
I guess. Is this the ultimate FU move?
Well, look, I see.
So Todd Monken is making three. So Chip Kelly, and you can if you want to argue that Monken's got some of that, obviously came from college and marries the run pass real well. So Chip Kelly, and by the way, Todd Monken's offense this year for much of the year was the best offense we've seen since the Greatest Show on Turf.
Baltimore, by the way.
Baltimore. And I know that fell short, but you're telling me that Chip Kelly and whatever the hell the Raiders are going to roll out there at quarterback, I don't know. And whatever they're doing offensively, I don't know, because outside of Brock Bowers, I don't know what they have that's any good. That's $3 million more than Todd Monken. That's $3 million more than Ben Johnson, who, again, scored more touchdowns this year with the Detroit Lions. And I know he went on to be a head coach, but he had more touchdowns than any team we've seen in 20 years. And that's Chip Kelly's worth twice what Ben Johnson's worth?
Well, apparently they thought so.
Huh?
That's how you get Chip Kelly out of Ohio State. You got to pay him. Dude, that guy's career arc is just absolutely bananas.
It is. It is absolutely bananas.
You know he's never been a coordinator in the NFL?
No.
He was only a head coach.
He was the head coach. Well, and he ran their offense. But again, if I told you that someone was about to become the highest paid coordinator by double, and like we're looking, the highest paid coordinator is in that $3 to $4 million range. So almost in some cases double. And, because some of these we don't have to report, but it's widely believed that about 3 million, 3 and change is the highest paid coordinator. So if we believe he's making 6, he doubled it. So if I were to tell you that a guy whose last time in the NFL was an abject failure with the San Francisco 49ers, right? I mean, that thing was a disaster. 1 year, and it was just right into the damn ground. And before that, he had, 3 years in Philly, if I'm not mistaken? I want to be fair. I want to go back and look. I think it was 3 years.
2 or 3.
Yeah. Searching. Yes. So he was in Philadelphia 2013, 14, and 15, and 1 year with San Francisco. So I told you he was 4 years in the NFL, hasn't been in the NFL since 2016, and his offenses got worse all 4 years that he was in the NFL. And then he goes to UCLA and is very, very average, and then has 1 year piloting the most expensive and arguably talented roster in the NCAA modern era, and that gets you double the salary in the NFL. Which one's more perplexing, the Luka thing or this? Because I find them both to be very strange.
The Luka trade is more perplexing. But I thought the better question was, if I had told you on Friday's show that there was going to be a new highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL by a factor of 50%.
Yeah.
Who would you have guessed I was talking about?
It wouldn't have been Chip Kelly.
Well, I know, but who would you have guessed I was talking about? I would have said Ben Johnson, but he just got a head coaching
He's got a
job.
head coaching job.
So it's not him.
No, and it's not Josh McDaniels going back to there. Like all the ones, I'm honestly.
Well, Josh McDaniels just went back to the Patriots.
Yeah, back to the Patriots. I probably would have said Monken. Because there's just not another one that.
No, but the new highest paid.
I don't know. I wouldn't have an answer for you, but I'll tell you who it wouldn't have been. Chip Kelly.
Well, here we are.
He's almost a decade removed from the NFL, and he's like 10 to 12 years removed from being relevant in the NFL, and they gave him
Shut up.
$6 million. Is he just stealing money?
Life's good, man.
Now, I would have told you maybe the year before. Maybe Bobby Slowick last year with the Texans was like
He got
fired. That's my point. Bobby Slowick was making $1.5 million and was like the end all to be all. And then a year later, his ass got fired. There's just none of this makes any sense.
Life comes at you fast.
Yeah.
And yet we always try to predict sports. We think it's so predictable.
Yeah. I guess
it's just not.
You're only worth what someone's willing to pay you.
They loved him.
I just can't.
Pete, I bet you Pete had a lot to do with that, don't you think?
It has to.
Petey loved him.
And is it a case? And dead serious.
Because didn't Petey compete against him
Yeah,
before he left?
Yeah, he got rolled up by
Yeah.
Chip. So is this a case of Pete being like, hey, when I was at USC, I couldn't stop this guy? And did someone pull him aside and be like, Pete, this is not 15 years ago. Maybe we should take a look at that?
Somebody texted and said, I thought Mark Davis didn't have any money. Well, I guess the scuddy is that Mark Davis has given Tom Brady the ability to open up the purse and go get who he wants.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's why they overpaid for Chip Kelly.
Well, that's not just an overpay. It's shocking. It is absolutely shocking. and a team that is known for being cheap gave him $6 million.
Yeah. Well,
Jerry Jones won't pay his head coach $6 million.
It sounds to me like, from what I've read, that Brady has convinced Mark Davis to start paying up.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's doing that.
Yeah.
Because Brady knows you got to pay to get what you want. I mean, come on. You can't just be cheap and win.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So it sounds like Brady has gotten him, because it sounds like Davis trusts Brady, and Brady's like, okay, well, part of this is you're going to trust me. I need some coin.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. So he's done that. I got to tell you, I get what you're saying about Chip. I would have I don't have an opinion on him being the OC of the Raiders. I think it's weird that they paid him the most of anybody in the league. That's weird. But he could be good with the Raiders. I don't know. I actually kind of like what Tom Brady is doing with the Raiders. Yeah. I don't mind it.
Bringing adults into the room.
Well, I think the Pete Carroll hire, we talked about this while you were out when he got hired, but I thought the Pete Carroll hire for Dallas was going to be a really good hire. Because they ended up with Brian Schottenheimer. So the rumor was, imagine that. Yeah. Imagine being Dallas sports guy.
Yeah.
And let's say last year at this time, the Mavs are in the finals, right? Not at this time, but let's fast forward to June. The Mavs are in the finals, and I go to Dallas sports fan, and I'm like, hey, I just want you guys to know that come February, Luka will be a Laker, and your coach will be Brian Schottenheimer.
Someone would be jumping off a bridge.
But I just think I thought that Pete Carroll would be, a la the USC hire, would be kind of a good cultural fit in Dallas.
They're trying to build a better organization.
But it turns out Brady wanted him and got him first. And I think it's a little less of a good hire in Vegas because, they don't, they just don't have that many players.
No.
But again, a la the USC, Pete Carroll at USC, it fits the Vegas, the glitz, the glamour, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad hire. And the Chip Kelly thing, I'm like, he's interesting. Yeah. He's interesting.
And someone pointed out.
And who's their defensive coordinator?
The correct.
Oh, they kept Patrick Graham.
They kept the guy in house. The correct answer to be who would have been the highest paid would have been Kingsbury.
Oh, Kingsbury. Yeah.
Coming off the year they had in Washington and that he stuck around, because Brady and him both stuck in Buffalo and Washington. That would have been the answer.
What's he make?
What's $1.5 million, I think.
That's it?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Cliff Kingsbury is making $1.5 million a year being the offensive coordinator of the Commanders, who were just in the NFC title game, and Chip Kelly gets yanked from Ohio State to the Raiders for $6 million a year?
Yeah, probably.
Is that what you're telling me?
That would be my guess.
That's a guess?
Well, I got to look it up. But most coordinators in the league are making between $1 and $2 or $3 million a year, and he got fired, obviously. So unless he signed a massive extension, and I'll look and see if that is. But
Who's
you know,
he? Who you talking about?
Kingsbury. But
Oh, you mean he got fired?
well, he got fired in Arizona.
Yeah,
and
for
then he
being a
wasn't.
head coach.
He was just kind of sitting around. I doubt they went and gave him.
Right.
He was a retread guy that was kind of a risky
Well,
hire.
I know, but I was thinking maybe I'm sure they bumped him up, right? This after the
I'm
NFC
assuming
title?
after this year that he got a bump, but I'm looking it up.
Yeah, you want to keep him with Jaden, and
Yes.
you got some pretty good things going there.
Oh, and by the way, he's still getting paid by the Cardinals. So
Oh my God, he's working for free?
he's
The Cardinals are paying the Commanders' offensive coordinator?
yeah, essentially.
What's he making?
Well, off the Cardinals, he's still making like $5 million a year.
God.
But does that say something that he was making $5 and $6 million being the head coach of the Cardinals, and Chip Kelly just got more than that to be the coordinator for the Raiders?
So does he get to double dip? He gets money from the
yeah,
commies
you get
too?
to double dip.
God, that's nice.
Yeah.
Nice little life.
Yeah, which is another reason why maybe he's content to just sit around and
That's right.
and wait.
All right, our Stockwatch is next. What we're buying and selling from the weekend in sports on the Fan.
The Fan. Primetime with Isaac and Soup
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
on 1080 The Fan. It's Primetime Stockwatch. What's all the hype? Are Isaac and Soup buying it or calling BS and unloading it fast?
Sounds to me like you guys are a couple of bookies.
Is the hype accurate or a bunch of hot gas? Before you buy or sell, listen close.
It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when his shorts aren't too tight in the seat.
Primetime Stockwatch is brought to you by 1-800-DIVORCE. When you need to take stock of your rights, 1-800-DIVORCE is on your side. Call 1-800-DIVORCE today.
Quick follow-up. Apparently, on internet, it is reporting that Cliff Kingsbury's Commanders deal is 3 years, $18 million.
Some of that might be, and this is what I'm trying to find out. A lot of those contracts, when they get bought out, the deferred language, so anything that he would make would go against the buyout. So that seems to line up with what he was being paid in Arizona. So I'm still trying to find the definitive answer in that. They may give him that knowing that it's not paid by them, it's paid by the Cardinals. So I'm not certain that he gets the $6 or $7 million from the Cardinals and $6 million from
I don't think so.
The Commanders. I don't think that's the way that works.
But
otherwise, he would be the highest paid coordinator, not Chip Kelly.
Well, the point I think is when the Commanders are willing to pay him $6 million a year.
Yes.
Which no matter who pays it, he is up in the Chip Kelly salary.
Yes.
That's the point. All right, here's Will Buck. Called him Will Buck.
Will Buck.
You did.
Will Buckley.
Will Buckner. Not to be confused with Bill Buckner.
No, who probably Will doesn't know.
I do know who he is, and I've never let a ball go 5-hole on me like that.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Would never lose. I would never miss a ground ball for the Red Sox.
Do you know what sucks about the legacy of Bill Buckner?
Talk to me.
He was actually a pretty good...
Yes, he was.
He was a pretty good player.
Yes, he was.
And he could hit better than anyone will ever remember.
Yeah. The disappointing part was at the end of that, he was kind of a beat-up older guy, and they put him in because they thought the game was over. And I also like to point out that did not cost him the game. The game was already tied when the ball went between his legs. So
then he went to the...
Did he go somewhere after that?
Well, the Royals had him for a year.
I thought that was the end of it in Boston.
Well, he went to Boston twice.
Because he played in Chicago too. And anywho,
I think he finished in Boston, but I don't know. Anyway, Will Ortner is his name, and he is in for Ryan Buckley today with our Stockwatch.
I don't do anything that's scary. I think everything that we do, we put a lot of work into it. We study it and we restudy it and we go back, and I understand the magnitude of it. So the easiest thing for me to do is do nothing, and everyone would praise me for doing nothing. But we really believe in it, and time will tell if I'm right.
That's the Mavs GM Harrison there at the presser with a very angry Jason Kidd sitting next to him. Buy or sell? This is the most shocking trade ever.
Whoa! The most shocking trade ever was Wayne Gretzky. But to be fair, that had to go down because the Canadian teams couldn't afford him. But
Wayne Gretzky to the Kings?
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky to the Kings was... You don't remember, obviously, if you weren't born
Well, it just
yet.
wasn't... Oh, you're talking about Will.
Yeah.
To me, I remember it, but I don't remember it being that shocking. Why was it so shocking?
Well, because he had a contract that was up, and Wayne was the league and was coming off multiple Stanley Cups. It was the greatest run, blah, blah, blah. He was Michael Jordan and then some of his sport. And the Edmonton Oilers just couldn't pay it. They just didn't have the money. And that was back before salary caps. And so Edmonton was like, there's nothing we can do. You can either stay here and make a fraction of what you can make, or we can send you somewhere. And LA was one of the places that were willing to pay him a just god-hunk chunk of money.
So why was it so shocking then?
It was the idea of the greatest player in the history of the sport leaving the most successful team in the sport to go to a place like LA.
Because they sucked, right?
They were terrible. Imagine, it was LA hockey. Imagine Jordan at his absolute peak after those 3 or 4 NBA titles being traded to, Charlotte. Right? You're like, what?
Well, he did play for Charlotte.
He did play for Charlotte. So that's the most shocking. But as far as waking up and being like, what the hell? Yes. There's only 3 players at the age of 25 coming off multiple All-Star seasons that have ever been dealt. Tracy McGrady, who forced his way out. This guy by the name of Wilt Chamberlain and Luka.
Whoa. Luka,
by the way, 25, 5 times first-team All-NBA. This just doesn't happen. And to get back a 31-year-old injury-prone Anthony Davis and 1 first-round pick, this is insane.
It is. I mean, the Gretzky one, I'm not a huge hockey guy, although that may stun a lot of you. So I don't have the respect for that being so shocking. The only other moves, and one of them isn't even a trade, that were shocking, coincidentally, at least that come to my mind, were in Dallas. One was, it was stunning when Tom Landry got fired.
Yeah.
I mean, stunning. Yeah. He was the Dallas Cowboys. And Jerry Jones bought the team and fired him in 1989. I remember it. And we were in kind of the Dallas sort of orbit at that time because I had family there, and we'd always go down there for the holidays, see the grandparents, and my grandma was a huge Cowboys fan, so we were kind of in the Cowboy mix at that time. That was absolutely jaw-droppingly shocking, Tom Landry. And the other one was the Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was a stunner.
Yes, and it built the Cowboys.
It did, but as far as shocking... Yeah.
And it was for this massive haul.
Yeah, 10 players or something?
That's right there. Yeah, I mean, those are the deals, and this will go down as one of
kind
those.
Of that. I mean, those are the only
shaking deals.
You were asking, is it the most shocking of all time? I can't say that it is, but it's close. How about that? And those are 2 moves that I thought were as shocking.
Well, I think the long term is the time frame. I think he fits our time frame. If you pair him with Kyrie and the rest of the guys, he fits right along. With our time frame to win now and win in the future. And the future to me is 3-4 years from now. The future 10 years from now, I don't know. I don't think they probably bury me and Jay by then, or we bury ourselves.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We're back at the Mavs.
By the way,
pressure.
correction. Jordan for the Wizards, not the. I was thinking that he played for Charlotte.
Oh yeah,
he played for the Wizards.
Yeah, that's right. That would have been the equivalent. Is him
in his
peak
prime
after winning the 3 titles, then being like, yeah, well, here, enjoy Washington.
That's the Mavs GM, Nico Harrison, doing kind of a nice little guy impression after they got dumped by a girl that was way out of their league of like, we're going to be just okay. It's all going to be fine. Buy or sell. The Mavs team this year with Anthony Davis is in a better spot to win a title.
No, they're not, because Luka, now granted, he's been out for the last 20 whatever games he's supposed to come back, and they're a middle-of-the-road team right now. They're sniffing around the play-in. But if Luka comes back healthy, look, this is still a team last year that was middle of the road. I think they went into the NBA playoffs as a 4 or 5 seed, if I'm not mistaken, and made the NBA Finals. Anthony Davis is great. Don't get me wrong, okay? Anthony, like, this is how good Luka is we've turned Anthony Davis now into, like, I don't know. We've turned him into some, like, average role player. Anthony Davis is amazing. But he also has injury concerns, and he's never led anyone to jack squat. When he was the main guy in New Orleans, it was a disaster. In LA, it's been up and down, but we know what he's capable of. But to say that getting rid of someone who is not even arguably, he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA, period, end of story. For the last 5 years, he's been first-team All-NBA, the best scorer in the league. To say that you're better off without him a year after he took you to the NBA Finals, stop it. Are they fine with Anthony Davis? Sure. Are they better? No. No.
Yeah, I would sell that too, but I just looked it up. The Mavericks last year on this date, 26-23.
And they're 26-24.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And they made the finals.
Yep.
So this is why people like us always say, who cares about the NBA until All-Star break?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Like, these teams are coasting until All-Star game, March.
Well, Luka's been out for...
And he's been hurt. Although they say he's going
games.
to be back next week. Make his Lakers debut next
back
week.
With LA. Where's LA sitting at in the standings?
5th.
Yeah, they're 28-19. I swear to God, if the Lakers win an NBA title with this, just... I need an investigation into Nico and old Rob there and their relationship. I need someone to nix this thing.
Now, with the Dodgers winning and then signing everyone, and then the Lakers winning after getting lucky with the Luka trade,
stop it.
If that happens in the same
year,
basically year, Do we have to lay off because of the fires, or can we pound them?
Team Meteor.
You know,
I know that makes for an awkward thing.
It's I hate to rip
'cause
all
we
the
do,
LA.
like LA needs to fall into the ocean, then like the whole city burned down. You're like,
Right. Yeah. I'm
It's
trying to
tough.
lay off,
That's
but
tough.
it is. If Luka wins, all bets are
All
off.
bets are off. I'm
F
with
that.
you. 250 billion, whatever. Nuts to you.
All right, our Stockwatch each Monday is brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. In the News is coming up next. I saw on the news today, on the real news, although In the News is the real news, but the
It's
TV
the
news,
only news I listen to.
I saw evidence of snowfall.
You'll be happy to know that I did receive a panic text this morning from the BTJ, who, by the way, was at work in Portland, that wanted to know about the possible blizzard conditions 20 minutes away.
I'm going to go check right now.
In Vancouver.
I owe it to you guys. I'm going to go check right now just to make sure. The In the News seggy or two is next. Here's Will.
This is a Super Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Sports Center is brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, your Portland Trailblazers are back in action. They're taking on the Phoenix Suns, looking to get their 8th win in their last 9 games. Right now, Phoenix is favored by 4.5. They're looking to get a little bit of revenge after their loss over the weekend. Total for that game is set at 228.5. Tip-off at 7. Your Oregon Ducks basketball team, they are no longer ranked in AP Top 25 rankings. They lost both their games last week. Their next game won't be any easier. They're traveling to Michigan to take on the 24th ranked Wolverines. That game will be played on Wednesday and can be heard here on 1080 The Fan. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite
I'm a balloon. Bye. Do you know where that comes from?
I do. The great Mike Lynch.
Hi, I'm a balloon.
Thinking of you, buddy.
Bye.
I do know that.
It is February 3rd, 2025. It's time for In the News. I'm your noted newsman. Hello. Thank you. Very busy day because we have snow.
We do?
No, we don't.
I was going to say.
Wait, we do.
I was out driving about and I did not see snow.
Hawkinson did today. The very top.
See, there you go.
I did receive a panic text message, though. That is true. I showed you the text message. 8:25 in the morning, the BTJ, who left the house no more than 40 minutes before, probably more like 35, did send the text of, is the blizzard here in Vancouver? Even though she could look out her window in downtown Portland and see no blizzard.
So I was watching the KGW news this morning. And they send the reporter
Oh, you got it.
up to Skyline. Is it Road or Boulevard? I think Road.
Yeah,
Skyline
up there.
Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go up there because if you don't, there's no story.
No. Or occasionally you go out to Hood River to look at a puddle that may or may not freeze.
So they had the reporter up there, and they go to her live on the air, and she says she got her little snow cap on, and she says, "Guys, I want to show you something. There is evidence of snowfall on Skyline Road.
Evidence!"
And the camera guy pans to her feet, and sure enough, at her feet, snow.
Now, define snow. Are we talking?
Well, it was like, how can I? Let's say there's a picture, a painting of a road.
Yeah.
An Oregon road with the trees along the side of it. Okay.
Majestic. Something Bob Ross would
Something
do.
beautiful.
There's a happy tree.
Yeah. And there's no snow on the trees or anywhere. No. But Bob Ross comes in and he paints little white stripes just alongside of the road. Maybe tiny ones.
Arctic white is the one he always used with the fan brush.
That's what it looked like.
And that's what that necessitated a live
Yes.
shot.
She said evidence of snowfall.
Evidence.
And then, do you know what they followed? I want you to guess what they followed that up with.
So if you have evidence of snowfall, I'm guessing some story about what we'll do if snowfall happens.
You're on the right track.
The plan was a plow involved or
kind of?
Yeah.
They went to Ace Hardware.
Of course.
And interviewed the Ace Hardware kid.
Quality hardware store.
About the things that people can buy at Ace Hardware
to help
should it snow.
Yeah. Well,
I got to tell you, it's the cutest thing ever.
I will say that out in front of the gym today, lots of like the rock salt or whatever they put down for traction. Yeah, they've sprinkled that all over the parking lot, all over the sidewalk, just to make sure that, I don't know, the 41 and clear weather that I was walking into today was gonna make sure I didn't slip.
So the kid was really nice about it. He was standing there and he was like, "Well, we've got snow shovels you see here. There's some de-icing products if your car's maybe frozen." And he's like, "Well, there's a lot of people are buying what are those things they call what are they called when you wrap them around your shoes for traction?"
Oh yeah, they're like
There's a name for them.
Yeah, I forget. They're
He's like, "We have
they're
those."
like cleats or whatever.
Yeah.
Snow spikes, maybe?
Yeah, there's a name. I don't know.
All I know on KGW right now, the head story is another chance on Wednesday or Thursday, prompting weather impact alerts.
I also have a late breaking ad to our hot snow talk here.
I love it.
ODOT says that they are trained and ready for whatever Mother Nature has in store.
I'm not happy if you're ready or trained. I need you trained and ready. Let's go.
Yep. So that should be reassuring.
Wasn't it?
My wife
Isn't
continues.
it like 45 degrees today?
Yeah, it's actually been, I think it's been warmer since Saturday. I may be wrong, but it does seem like it's been warmer.
Well, I have like a big Filson down vest that is kind of my morning. Like when it's really cold out, I put that on over the jacket or the sweatshirt. And so I bundled up today thinking, oh boy, here it comes. I had to take it off in the middle of my walk because I got sweaty. And yet, what are we doing?
Well, I always judge it by we both walk the dogs, right? So
Yeah.
you go outside to walk the dog.
Yeah, you got to look at
and
the
you
frost.
instantly can feel, oh, I'm overdressed, or it's cold this morning, or whatever. I did not have the, it's cold this morning feeling. I haven't had that since 2 weeks ago.
All I know is panic is here. I'm looking at the 7-day forecast, and Wednesday, Thursday are bright red.
They are saying Now this is where my wife will go, aha! Because she's still trying to justify that. Well, like she'll say, like I swear to God, I love her, but she lives in a freaking la la land when it comes to snow. But it's the cutest thing because you Oregonians, it's a thing with you.
Yeah.
She will still, even though, and I don't rub it in her face that it hasn't snowed. She was preparing for apocalyptic-like conditions for the weekend. That didn't happen. But she still will make little comments to try to at least 10% win the argument that it snowed. Like, she'll be like, oh, well, God, did you see how much snow they got up on Mount Hood? I'm like, yeah, Mount Hood. That's what they were saying the whole time.
That's where we're not.
And that's where we're not.
No. Well,
it's way up there.
It's tough, man. It's tough out there.
Isn't it like 12,000 feet? 9,000, 10,000 feet or something?
I did see, while you were gone, they did have a thing on the news where you could tell where your elevation's at. Because that's a big one, too. You got to know where your elevation is. And my elevation is the only one I need to know is it's not in the mountains.
But they are saying that Tuesday, that's tomorrow, or Wednesday, we may get a dusting in the morning.
And possibly Thursday.
Possibly Thursday, and it won't last because it's going to get too warm, and so it won't stick.
By the way, crampons, I think, is what people are the little foot traction things.
They're called crampons?
Yes.
Yak tracks is what I saw.
There you go. Yak tracks is what crampons.
Yeah.
That means something different in my house.
No, that's a thing.
Yeah. Yes. What'd you call them?
Yak tracks.
Yeah. Jack tracks.
No,
Yak.
The crampons are that is the actual term for the little shoe traction things.
They should change that.
Hey, you can get a really nice set right now on Amazon for
I bet you can.
Yeah, about 20, looks like $22. You better get those.
Are you looking at the right thing?
Yes, I'm looking at the right thing. That is what they are. Now, most of the time when you refer to those, you're talking about the ones like when you're climbing like ice cap mountains and they have like big claws. But yes, that is what those things are.
So, if it dusts on Wednesday and it doesn't stick, does that count as a snow? I think to Oregonians it does.
It does. It does. And believe you me, there will be live, the news will start at like 2:30 in the morning with live coverage in case you have to leave your house at 4.
There will be closures.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And we get it. There's a difference between snow and ice. Understand.
Yeah.
I just feel that, well, I'll just continue to speak about my wife. She's traumatized. Like, all it takes is one snowstorm to be really bad.
Yeah.
And she is traumatized that she thinks any snow is going to maybe kill her. Yes. It's the damnedest thing.
Yeah. Your missus and my missus need to get together and hunker down because I'm not sure which one would lead the other in panic. They would it'd be oil and gas. But man, they could really do something special.
Tell you what though, what wouldn't happen to them? They would not be caught off guard.
No.
By the snow.
No, they will be prepared. I'd also like to point out the one that I don't fully understand, and you at least have Molly Two Poops. So you have a dog that probably shouldn't be outside. But I have an Akita that will not come inside. There is nothing more he loves than sleeping outside in like 7-degree weather. And I get this at least 4 to 5 times a day now. Is he going to be all right? Is he going to be all right? Did you leave him outside? He loves being outside. I don't know. I think it's going to get really cold. It's going to get down into the 30s. Have you seen the dog? She cannot accept the fact that he thrives in this. No, he has to be inside. Why? Because of the fierce blizzard conditions. We're basically in the Arctic at this point, and no one could possibly handle being outside.
All right, In the News continues next with baby elephant news on the Fan. Is in the news, Feb 3, 2025. As always, brought to you by The Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. I forgot to tell you what day it is. It is Ice Cream for Breakfast Day.
Oh,
I don't know who does that.
that sounds terrible, actually.
Yeah.
I used to.
You did?
Ice cream?
Yeah, when I was fat? Hell yeah.
Really?
Especially hungover? Yeah.
It's never once crossed my mind.
See, I love ice cream.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my God. I've professed before that ice cream is the thing I love most, that I eat the least, or that I consume the least.
Yeah.
I love ice cream.
Yeah.
I just don't eat a lot of it. I don't want it in the freezer because I'll just pound it.
Yeah.
If there's one instance where I'm like, ew, when it comes to ice cream, it would be at 7 o'clock in the morning.
It has never once dawned on me when I wake up in the morning to go crack a pint
That
of
makes no sense.
Haagen-Dazs.
I didn't know that
Time
was a
is a social construct, and you guys are just slaves to it. Not me.
Okay.
Revolutionary. But I don't do that anymore.
It's also the day the music died.
Yeah, Richie Valens and the Big Bopper and Buddy Holly, right? I think there might have been one other.
Yeah, there were 4 of them. Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on the...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a coin flip.
Yeah, coin flip, right? And I don't remember which one got on the plane, but yeah, the old they do that in Alabama. They show the coin flip, and I think Richie Valens too was like 19 when that happened. Like he was
Buddy Holly was only like 22.
Yeah, they were babies. And as much as that sucked, it gave us American Pie, which is one of the great songs of all time.
Buddy Holly looks like... It's just fascinating to me that he was a huge popular star.
I know, right?
When you look at him.
Because he just looks like the world's biggest nerd.
Yeah. I mean, I know he was great and everything, but
Yeah.
it's just interesting.
Yeah. 22 years old, Buddy Holly, when he died.
22, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a new baby elephant at the Oregon Zoo, guys.
Oh, people love the elephant.
Yep. They sure do. Well, they love baby elephants because
Yeah.
they're just so damn cute.
They are adorable.
And
by the way, Richie Valens, 17. Not even 19.
After a lengthy 20-month pregnancy, Rose 2, a 30-year-old Asian elephant at the Oregon Zoo, gave birth to a healthy female calf Saturday at 4:29 p.m.
And it just...
What were you doing? Shopping for chains?
I was preparing
for the big snowstorm?
I was looking to hunker down is what I was doing. Buying, the supplies for when I get snowed in. That elephant, by the way, is adorable.
Yeah, little baby elephants are cute.
Yes.
And this one, they haven't named her yet, but she weighed around 200 pounds, and she is bonding with her mother.
200 pounds at birth.
And you have to keep your distance because they're bonding, so you have to
And this is why, like,
tread lightly.
Stating for the record, I get it. I get why we have zoos. I understand they serve a purpose. I just, it's still, when I'm looking, it kind of breaks my heart. When I look at the,
Yeah, but the elephant doesn't know any different.
No, the elephant doesn't, but it's just at the
The
same
little
time.
baby elephant's like, oh, look at this place.
Yeah,
This place
it's
is great.
Yeah, it doesn't know any different, so. And I get it. This elephant probably wouldn't have a life elsewhere, and it's just, so it's hard for me when I see like the bars and everything. But gosh, that thing is adorable.
So you can't see her, if you're wondering, right now.
Yeah, you just got to see the photos.
They will remain out of public view until they're ready and comfortable, at which point they will be introduced for you, the visitor.
And the people will go nuts. I mean,
they will.
Elephants are always like top 3, top 4 attractions at the zoo.
Yeah, you got to see the elephants.
People love them.
And that is in the news for Feb 3, 2025. Stay safe out there.
Please get your crampons ready. Get your de-icer. Hunker down with your bottled water, and then I'm waiting for the news story of like how not to handle it. Like, don't light your barbecue indoors, right? Things like that.
Yeah. Don't light your barbecue indoors. That's pretty much a year-round thing.
Yes.
Don't do that.
I just love the idea that someone did that at one point, so now the news has to talk about it.
The Advocates, injury attorneys at advocatesslaw.com. The Hot 5 is next on The Fan.
to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp has posted on social media that he was told by the organization that they will look to trade him over the offseason. Kupp has been with the Rams since they drafted him in 2017. Your Portland Trailblazers take on the Suns tonight at home in the Moda Center, looking to go 2-0 against the Suns in the last week. Phoenix right now, they're favored by 4.5. Total is set at 228.5. Tip-off at 7. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Did you score a smart speaker over the holidays? Just ask it to play 1080 The Fan. It's 5 o'clock, or relatively close.
I was wondering what to...
The Fan.
That will never get old to me.
What?
Jordan Mailata
Oh.
doing the Bane bit.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
See if I can find that here for you. I thought I had that. Buck would know where it is, but he's not here because he took his birthday off.
This is weird. His 40th birthday while he puts together a birthday list for his daddy.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Strange.
Welcome back to our show. Hope you're having a good little Monday. It's your Sports Bros, Rop and Sook. I'm Rop. That's Big Sook right over there. Look at him.
Here until the snow comes, then panic.
Yep.
Although, if
All
it comes
bets are
on
off.
Wednesday, we're not here.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Hot Ducks basketball, which
Boy, they looked bad last night.
they look bad like the last handful of nights. Lost, 5 of 6? And now they're on the road at Michigan. Turns out the Big Ten, harder in basketball than it is at football.
Where's Pete? Where's Masters Pete? Saying fire Dana Altman.
Oh, believe me.
Haven't heard from him.
That text is coming in. Give it time.
So Will Ortner is in today. He's giving you hot NBA over-under totals in his sports snorts.
Hey.
That's the extra mile we're looking for.
The Blazers right now, the tank is off.
Yeah.
Realize the Blazers are 4 games away from the play-in spot.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Sacramento's 24-24 and is 10th. And Portland is 20-29, and I think they've won, is it 6 or 7 or 7 or 8?
It's 7 of 8, and I was giving Danny crap because I was like, Danny, because, they do the show before us.
Yes.
And so we see Danny and Dusty, too.
Yeah.
And
but mostly Danny, Dusty, we're like, whatever. Get out of here.
Well, Dusty usually has to run out of here because he has to go coach.
That is true.
Or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, he bolts. He's got hot football that he's got to attend
He's
to.
our Doug Gottlieb.
Yes.
But Danny hangs around, and he likes to talk. And I was like, dude, you told us the Blazers were tanking. And they've won 7 of 8.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
The tank is off.
What is going on? Well, he dodged my question. He did not answer it.
Well, the problem is that the young guys are winning. And you can't, how else are you going to take? If you play
that is a problem.
If you play the young guys and the young guys are the ones doing it, there's nothing you can do. And so right now, it's the young guys that are carrying this. So we'll see what happens come trade deadline if they get rid of some of the vets. But you can't tell the young guys that the whole point of you developing them is to not win. So it's the tank is off and they're playing really well. Now it's gonna be hilarious when they miss the play-in by like 2 games and this season was lost. But right now it's fun. I mean, they're favored tonight against Phoenix.
All right, coming up, we will talk about the most surprising trade that we can remember. If you didn't see it, we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
And then tonight in the club, I saw a Christopher Walken interview I'd like to bring to your attention.
Okay.
Because he's great.
Oh, he's wonderful. Severance has brought it back into into the collective consciousness of how great Christopher Walken is. And he, along with Jeff Rust, are in that category that when I look at them, they make me smile, and my day is just better.
Do you know much about him?
I know a little bit about him. I don't know if I know all about him.
Okay, well, I have
But
facts.
I know he was a dancer.
Yeah, I have facts about Christopher Walken. He did an interview in the Wall Street Journal, and it's just great.
How old is he now?
Is he
in his? Is he?
I think he's in his 80s. I want to say 84, but it might be 78. It also might be 76.
81 years old.
Yep, 81.
And dare I say, he looks great.
So I have hot Christopher Walken facts that you didn't know you needed.
Yeah, I don't know that much about I don't know where he's from or.
Well, I'm going to tell you all that because it's fascinating. He is a fascinating character. That'll be in the club tonight. Right now, the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions,
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
and hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Discover Victor Rico's new savory menu items. Order in store, online, or get it delivered straight to your door at victorricos.com. Number 5.
Tigers have signed starting pitcher Jack Flaherty to a 2-year, $35 million baseball deal.
At least it's not the Dodgers. I'm happy when anyone signs anywhere and it's not the Dodgers.
Well, if the Dodgers don't even have room for him.
Oh, they'll make room.
They wouldn't. They don't. Dude, Jack Flaherty is probably going to be, he's going to be the number 2 guy in Detroit. The Dodgers will laugh at him. They were like, we don't really have any room, but we'll sign you to a minor league deal.
He can come out of the bullpen. He can be long relief for us.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
He was in Detroit last season before being traded to the Dodgers, who then were like, yeah, fine, you can have him back. Yankees are adding pitching depth. They signed former Mets starter Carlos Carrasco. You wondered what happened to him, didn't you? Well, there he is. 37, a spry 37-year-old.
When's Pete Alonso signing with the Mets? Can we fast forward to that?
It's a minor league deal. Is he going to sign with the Mets?
There's talk that they may circle back. He hasn't signed, so the market isn't quite there for him. So we're hoping that eventually it dries up and they just.
Why is there no market for him?
Because he wants a ridiculous amount of money. Because Scott Boras is his agent.
Is it possible he's overrated?
It's possible.
Number 4.
But I still love him, and I would like to polar bear back with my beloved New York Mets.
Florida State men's basketball coach Leonard Hamilton is resigning after his 23rd season. This is mainly over those unpaid NIL payments to players who have now sued him.
Yeah, it's a little awkward.
He's also 76 years old. Did you know that?
No, I did not know he was that old until I saw the story.
I have Hot 5 trivia. Do you want Hot 5 trivia?
Let's go.
How many of the top 5 winningest ACC men's basketball coaches can you name?
Of all time?
Yes. You should be able to get them all.
Well, Dean Smith.
Yeah, he's number 2.
Coach K.
He's number 1.
Ricky Pitino.
No.
No?
ACC.
Well, was it? No, I guess Louisville wasn't in the ACC. They were
No,
Big
that
East. Who else is floating around there?
You're missing a big one.
Missing a big one.
And there's another sneaky one.
Jim Valvano?
No. He was... No.
Yeah,
Did you get the
ACC
Syracuse
is
guy?
good on state.
Boeheim?
Who am I missing?
Boeheim, Syracuse? No, they were Big East for most of the
They were
season.
Big East. Who am I missing? Oh, was Georgetown in the ACC?
No.
They were Big East too. Who am I?
By the way, Leonard Hamilton's 5th.
Who am I missing?
You're missing 2. Roy Williams
Ow.
and Gary Williams.
Yeah, for God's sakes.
From Maryland.
From Maryland.
Ohio State has now lost both national championship coordinators. Defensive coordinator Jim Knowles bolted to Penn State. Now OC Chip Kelly will be the highest paid assistant in the NFL. He joins Tom Brady and Pete Carroll with the Raiders.
I know that we talked about this earlier, but everyone's being floored at the Luka trade. This one makes no sense to me. Hasn't been in the NFL since 2016. His offenses got worse every year he was in the NFL. His offenses were not gangbuster at UCLA. He had obviously a very nice offense at Ohio State, but $6 million? He makes more than Spags. He's going to make more than $1.5 million more than Spags in Kansas City. I just don't understand the $6 million for him with the Raiders. It's puzzling.
Ryan Grubb fired by the Seahawks. He's landed back with Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. He will be the Tide's new OC.
Well, his offense in the NFL was atrocious, marrying the run and the pass, so he needs to go back to college.
And Oregon running backs coach Rashad Samples is interviewing for the same position with the Cowboys. He is from Dallas. Blazers are back at it. They play the Suns again tonight at Moda. Phoenix no match on Saturday night as Portland won by 19.
Dude, this is the damnedest thing to see Portland not just winning, but blowing teams out.
They can't be stopped.
No.
Robert Williams is questionable tonight. Reports are he is being aggressively pursued by a Western Conference contender ahead of Thursday's trade deadline.
Well, there's some talk, too, now with the Lakers dealing Anthony Davis. They need a center, and Portland has centers. So And if you notice lately that DeAndre Ayton has decided to give a damn and play hard, would someone like DeAndre Ayton come on down?
If you're wondering when Luka will suit up for the Lakers, yes, he is a Laker. It's looking like possibly the run begins next week.
Yeah, because he's been out for 20-plus games dealing with his little calvesies. Or should I say big calves. This he said he ballooned up to like 265, 270. This stretch he was out.
Number one.
It's not the best. We give Zion a lot of crap. Luka likes to put on some LBs too.
Pass rusher Myles Garrett has requested a trade out of Cleveland. He is 29 years old and wants to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Browns just a whopping 3-14.
Well, they've made the postseason twice. The dude's as good as it gets in the NFL when it comes to being a pass rusher, but I think people are going to be shocked at the price tag when it comes to Myles Garrett, because like the Khalil Mack one, Mack was 2 years younger, and no one's giving him that kind of haul. You're saying that like a 1 and maybe a 2 and a 3, or a 1 and 2 3s maybe gets this done. I don't think he's going to get 2 1s. 1, he makes a ton of money. 2, he's 29 going on 30. This will be a much more reasonable price tag. And the one team that makes total sense, well, actually there's 2. Detroit could make this done, but the one that makes sense is the Commanders, because they've got money to spend. They got money to absorb this. They're not paying anyone. And that's a team with a roster that wasn't very good, got to the doorstep of the Super Bowl. That's the one, if you want to kind of take a swing with a cheap quarterback, the Commanders makes a lot of sense.
By the way, Commanders are staying the Commanders.
Yeah.
New owner Josh Harris says the team name is here to stay, and they're embracing it.
Yeah, they said that because for a long time when they took over was the idea that he did not like that. He wasn't on board. But yeah, he came out and said that, with the
He's
success,
all in.
Yeah, they're all in, which is disappointing because that name sucks.
Victor Rico's Mexican food, a hit with the whole family. Order in-store, online, or delivered to your door at victorricos.com. When you think of flavor, think of Victor Rico's. Luka is a Laker. We make sense of it next. Hello. Welcome back to our show. Here's where we spitball about why the hell the Mavs traded Luka to the Lakers.
No one seems to know outside of outside of the weird casino theory.
Well, that's not a really weird theory, but it's
kind of is.
Well, I mean, not really when you start talking about what billionaires are doing.
Yeah.
It's never weird. Remember this? We did this with Paul Allen for years, where it's like people are trying to predict what Paul Allen would think or do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, you do not even live in an orbit next to the orbit that he lives in.
No.
Like, there's no way to predict his behavior or what he's going to think or do because you have no idea what it's like to be Paul Allen and be worth $50 billion.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with the Adelsons. Like, those people are so rich, so they're the new owners of the Mavs.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor is that they dealt Luka because they're trying to get a big casino operation going in Texas, and they're trying to lobby the legislature down there to change the laws so that they can make a ton of money on this new Vegas-y type casino in Dallas that would have the Mavs' new arena with it. And they're not getting anywhere with that. And apparently they want to threaten to move the team from Dallas to Vegas. That would be their next step in trying to rattle the cages and get this done.
It's basically the plot of Major League.
So they would want the Mavericks to suck, and so they traded Luka. I mean, look, I don't know, man.
Isn't it weird, though, that the plot of Major League is the most viable? It's the only thing that even remotely makes sense, even though it's absolutely insane.
They want to leave.
It's the only. Well, the idea is that they can either say, they spend more money lobbying in Texas than any other group. They spend more money on politicians than anyone else. And they still can't get the state to say, yes, you can build a casino.
Which is crazy.
So the idea is,
think about that.
We become so bad and we suck over the next 3 or 4 years that we threaten to leave and go to Vegas, which won't happen. The NBA won't let it. You're telling me the NBA is going to let the fourth largest market lose its team? Oh, and by the way, give up a $7 to $8 billion franchise fee for the expansion team that's coming to Vegas? But the threat is you either let us build this casino or we're gone in Vegas. And so either Dallas agrees and they build their casino or they move to Vegas. I find that all to be ludicrous, and yet it's still the only thing that makes any sense because there's not one other theory. And I have watched and read and listened to every single credible NBA voice, and not one person can make any sort of sense out of what the hell Nico Harrison was doing by calling one team and one team only and getting arguably the worst haul in the history of the NBA for a 25-year-old, 5-time All-NBA player that's a perennial MVP who, by the way, just took your average-ass team to the NBA Finals last year. It makes no sense.
Well, I'm of the opinion that people know. It's just they're not saying.
Yeah, and then eventually it'll come out.
I don't know that. I don't know if it will or not. I just think it's one of those insider things that maybe if you're close enough to know somebody, like Nico's from here, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Nico Harrison is
like
from
went to
here.
Tigard, right? Well, he's an old Nike guy, which is how he knows Pelinka.
Exactly. So a lot of his tentacles are still around here. So there's some stuff floating out about why this went down, but I don't know if it'll ever come out. I don't know. It's one of those insidery things that may just stay insider. But Nico Harrison's reputation is basically all riding on this. Yep. So you would think at some point, if he could, he would want to justify what just happens. But I just cannot think that it's as simple as he wanted to make that move for the betterment of the Mavs. It's just not. That's just not how it works. There's something more at play here. I don't know if it's the Adelsons. The Adelsons don't give a rip about sports.
No. And
they also don't give a rip about Dallas. So, that angle is interesting to me. Like, why did they even buy into that? Why did Cubans? That whole thing is a little odd. So maybe there's something with that, and we do know that they are trying to get that whole casino thing built. So it could be tied to that. There could be stuff going on with Luka behind the scenes that no one can admit or no one can say.
The one thing we do know, and this is well documented, is the Mavericks over the last couple of years have kind of gutted all the support staff that Luka was close to, from trainers to medical staff. And Luka has been public about that anyone that was close to him. And they're not thrilled with Luka's shape. In fact, one of the unnamed executives in Dallas today in one of the stories I read said, "How on earth do you play 40 minutes a night in the NBA and gain weight?" So the weight and the commitment has been a real thing. There's the famous video clip of Michael Finley taking the beer out of Luka's hands, and they're not thrilled with always the condition and the shape he comes in. That's always been a battle, but he's all NBA every year and went to the NBA Finals. So even if you thought that, all right, we don't love the commitment, we don't love necessarily how this is going to age, you still traded for a guy 6.5 years older that still has massive injury problems and a commitment issue throughout his NBA career. It just doesn't make any sense. Every other GM came out, and I guess they kept this so close to the vest. The only ones that knew about this were the Lakers and the Mavericks. And like every GM is like, oh my God, we would have offered so much more than this.
I actually think that's the weirder part. Honestly, Nico Harrison and whoever else, but I think it's just him in Dallas, traded Luka, I believe, traded Luka Doncic because they had to. Yeah. There is no other logical explanation. He is not that dumb. He's just not. So what that is, why did he have to? There's a lot of things it could be. We don't know. The weirder thing is that from what we know, the whole league is saying
no one knew.
No one knew about this. In other words, he did not shop around. He only called Rob Pelinka of the Lakers, told him to keep it quiet, and he did this deal with him and him only. That's weird. I don't understand that. The only thing that I could say to that would be that Luka wanted to go there.
Yeah.
And if they knew behind the scenes that it wasn't going to work out with Luka and they wanted to move on from him, maybe that's the only reason they called LA.
And we'll find out, because the story, again, we only know what we've been told. But Luka claims, blindsided, he had just built a $16 million house, I guess he bought it. Literally, they said weeks ago. Supposedly cried. And his dad went on an absolute media tirade, mother effing the Mavericks organization top to bottom. So if he really wanted out and didn't have an interest in being there, and by the way, he cost himself whatever it is, $100 million with the Supermax because he can't get it anywhere else. And LA has some of the highest taxes in the country, where Texas has no state tax. He cost himself just an ass ton of money. If that's really the case, then again, kudos to Luka and everyone for running a hellacious smokescreen here. All I know is that if this really was Nico and Rob Pelinka, who were old buddies from Nike, if this were to be done in a fantasy sort of league, the commissioner would veto this. If you were running a fantasy league and two guys that were close friends from back in the day worked out this deal, you as the commissioner would look at this and be like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. And yet it happened right before our eyes. I mean, noted NBA scribes, guys like Shams, are coming out and saying this is the worst trade they've seen in the history of the NBA. I mean, that is not light language. And it just seems such a bizarre thing to wake up and see this. So I'm open to the idea, like you are, that there is more and it's going to come out. But all I can go on is face value right now, and that is really hard to believe outside of that wild casino theory. But at least that one has some, you can kind of look at it and be like, well, it's insane, but I guess that kind of makes sense, as opposed to you really thought Anthony Davis and by the way, the Lakers had 2 firsts they could have traded. They got 1. Look at what Kevin Durant got. Look at what Rudy Gobert got in his deal. And you're telling me that Rudy Gobert and Anthony Davis at 31 were worth 10 times what you got in exchange for 25-year-old Luka Doncic? Yeah. Arguably the best scorer in the NBA.
Yeah, there's something more to it.
Yeah.
But, as far as shocking, I thought of another trade. We were talking about this in Stockwatch. Ortner was asking us, is this the most surprising trade you can remember? And I brought up, it wasn't a trade, but I brought up the firing of Tom Landry.
Yeah.
I think that shook. I'd be interested to know what they're saying in Dallas for the people that are old enough to remember that. That was 1989. I wonder if that was more shocking than this to them, or if this is even more shocking than that.
Well,
because I remember at that time, that was a huge, that rocked the NFL world.
Yes.
That Jerry fired Tom Landry. The other one was the Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah.
Somebody else brought up.
Is there something just coming out of Dallas, by the way? This is where all this is.
I don't know what's
centered?
going on down there.
I listened to Will Kane today. He was on doing an interview with Russillo, and he was saying, like, for him, because he's like just young enough to where he doesn't really remember the Landry thing, it's like they're calling it like a
It's
part
like
two.
that.
Yes.
Yeah,
like
it's
the
the
old
same.
people are saying this is what we felt like when
Right.
Tom got fired.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Ricky Williams Saints trade, the Ditka thing.
Yeah.
That one was pretty surprising. And I thought of one other one. Now, it's not on the level of Luka Anthony Davis. It's just not. It's not even close. But it was a trade most recently that I remember we were like, whoa, when it happened. And that was when Matt Stafford got traded for Jared Goff.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And remember at the time they ate all that money in the contract, and that was one of those like, oh my God. But I mean, think about that. They said that it's the first, or I guess it's the third time in NBA history that a multi-time All-Star, 25 or younger, has been dealt. Tracy McGrady, who forced his way out, and Wilt Chamberlain. And the other one is Luka. Luka's been in the league 6 years. He was Rookie of the Year, and since then he has been. Think about how hard it is to be first team All NBA, right? Like,
I know, I've never been there.
Yeah, you are one of the five greatest players of all time. I mean, or the five best players in the league. And you look at some of the all-time greats, they haven't been first team All NBA more than 5 or 6 times. Luka's been in the league 6 years. He's been All NBA first team 5 times. Like,
well, he's amazing.
This is generational type stuff.
You know what's also weird about it? And maybe this doesn't tie in because Nico wasn't there to draft him. I don't think he was, right?
No,
Nico
I
came
don't
later.
think so, yeah.
They lucked ass backwards into him.
Yeah.
You know, like, so they have Dirk for 20, however many years.
Yeah, built a statue for him.
Oh my God. Dirk was like, he won him a title.
Yeah.
He was Mr. Mavericks, never left, stayed there, played his whole career there, was just like this transcendent Dallas superstar, right? He goes away and they go in the draft and they find this young kid. Where's he even from? I don't even know where he's from. Slovenia, named Luka, who at the time nobody really knew was this good.
No. I mean, we knew
they
he was good,
take
but
him.
they didn't know this.
They draft him. 2 years later, they're like, OS, we have a superstar on our hands. And a couple years after that, they freaking trade him.
Yep.
What on earth? So I'm of the opinion that there's something more going on. Maybe we'll find out in time. Maybe we won't. But the other thing here is that the effing Lakers just traded up again.
Yeah.
How do they keep doing this?
I don't know.
Does the league like facilitate this so that the Lakers can just remain good?
It's just
it's unbelievable.
It's the damnedest thing.
F them.
There is just something about being in, like, I if you're a Laker fan, how nice is it no matter what happens? Just think about Portland and how hard it is to get anyone to want to be here. And yet in LA, like a new generational player, just you crap one out seemingly every 6 or 7 years. Like, oh yeah, here you go. Like, oh, Kobe's gone. You know, no big deal. Here's LeBron. Oh, LeBron's gone. And like, oh, you know, here's
What if we
Luka.
can get Luka? Everybody laughs. Oh no, we're getting Luka overnight on a Saturday
Can
night.
we also point out, too, for every Laker fan that's like, oh, it hasn't been that great, LeBron. They won a title. They got Anthony Davis.
Yeah, it was COVID time.
Well, they still won one with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and
here he comes.
He's not that. We could do a whole other segment on him.
He's really good.
He's kind of being like, nobody respects him.
No.
And it's a very interesting. He has a very interesting sort of legacy that he's created. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what to make of him either. Like, I know he's great.
He's so good. He's one of the best two-way players. But does it say something about how good Luka is that we act like getting Anthony Davis is like, it's like getting Frank Burkowski or something. Like, we're like,
whoa, take it easy on the brick.
Anthony Davis is freaking amazing. And by the way, that lineup that they're putting out there in Dallas is going to be good.
Yes.
Because Anthony Davis is a phenomenal two-way player.
If he's healthy.
It's just that, if he's healthy. It's just that Luka is, like, I looked it up. In the history of the NBA, there right now, I believe, if my count is correct, there's only 11 people in the history of the NBA that have more first-team All-NBA selections than Luka. He's been in the league 6 years.
Yeah.
Like, he is on trajectory.
We know that. I just was with Davis. It's weird. We kind of crap all over him, and I don't think we should.
No.
Although I see why we do. It's a weird one. And by the way, somebody pointing out Dallas didn't draft Luka. That's true. They traded with Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And somebody on internet instantly posted, just out of nowhere, in a surprising comeback victory, the Atlanta Hawks win the Luka trade. And they did.
Yeah, they did.
Out of nowhere. We thought they got crushed in that trade. No, they didn't.
No. And watch Luka come out. We'll find out that he's got a massive alcohol problem. And
like I said, there's something going on.
And then
they're not just going to give up on him like that.
All of a sudden he becomes Jared Lorenzen. Like, he comes back. We find out he's 315. He's smoking darts on the sidelines. You're like, hell.
All right. What a weekend. Next, here's Ortner.
This is a super weekend. Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp has posted on social media that he was told by the organization that they will try to trade him over the offseason. Kupp has been with the Rams since they drafted him in 2017. He will be looking for a new team this offseason. The Blazers take on the Suns at home in the Moda Center. Blazers looking to win their 8th game in their last 9. Phoenix is favored, though, at 4.5. They're looking to get a little bit of revenge over their loss over the weekend. Total right now is set at 228.5, tip-off at 7. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite
Wilbon's claim that Luka is as hurt as Anthony Davis?
Mhm.
Or he didn't say as hurt. I think he said
Plays
as
as many games.
less ready to play.
I think Luka has played in a career, I think it's 67 games is the average, I think I saw.
Yeah, that's not exactly right.
No.
Based on, I'm just doing regular season. I didn't do playoffs.
Sure.
So they may have had regular or playoffs in there. But regular season, Luka Doncic for his career averages 60 games a season.
Okay.
Anthony Davis, care to guess? He's played longer, but this is over the course of his career.
I'll go 63.
59.
59. So about the same.
What Wilbon was saying,
Yeah.
technically,
Yeah.
if you go by that,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah. Well,
about the same.
yeah.
I'll say this. I get the knocks on Luka, and I get the knocks on AD.
Mhm.
I am shocked that Anthony Davis's average games played per season is 59.
Yeah.
I would have guessed
Well,
way
'cause
lower.
that's the nickname is like street clothes and all that.
Well,
He
yeah,
just always seems to be nicked up.
Well,
but-
he seems so. He's just so. He just seems like a.
He's fragile.
Yeah. Well, you're being nice.
Yeah, I mean it is, and Luka isn't viewed as fragile. He's just viewed as kind of I don't know, like a.
Well, he's younger.
He's younger, and he's at it. I mean, it's just his comes down to shape. They want him.
Well, he parties. We know that.
He parties, and it is interesting that for someone as good, generationally as good as he just is. He's again one of the 5 best players in the NBA since he stepped foot on the court. It was like here it goes, Rookie of the Year, now 5-time All NBA first team. Like Anthony Davis has never done anything like that. Nor did Anthony Davis lead a team to the NBA Finals or the Conference Finals on his own, right? He has always been the Batman in his best seasons to LeBron. And by the way, since that one half championship, the Lakers have done exactly jack squat with the two of them, whereas Luka has, again, in 5 years, led a team to the Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. It is amazing, though, that someone hasn't been able to get into his head to just be in better shape. And supposedly this year he brought in a personal trainer, personal chef, all of that. That is one of the, and whether it's Zion or any of the other guys that have battled this over the years, it is amazing to me that you can't get someone scheduled to make $350 million over whatever it is, 5 years, that you can't put a team in place that watches him and watch what goes into your mouth. And gets you to work out. I mean, and he plays ridiculous amounts. I mean, he plays 40 minutes a night. It's not like he's out there just, doesn't have any steam in his engine. I will never be able to properly fathom that you can't get guys like this to be in shape.
I get that. I would take it a step further and say, I don't see a problem with him. Like,
yeah.
Dude,
it works.
Like Ortner was saying that, was it Russillo you said?
Yeah, Russillo literally said, like screamed it at Bill Simmons when Simmons was like, well, maybe there's a good reason. He could be smoking cigarettes, taking the ball up the court.
And I wouldn't care.
Still offer him the Supermax.
Exactly. That's kind of how I view it. It's like, okay, all of those things are true about his, maybe his work ethic or his weight or this or that.
Yeah.
But
he's greatness.
Yeah. So what?
You know who else had this?
Barkley had a little bit of this.
Barkley had a lot of this too. Yeah. You know who else had this? And he was the king of it was Shaq. And yet all Shaq did was be arguably the most dominant player since Michael Jordan that I've ever seen. And yet Shaq had this, and Kobe would get all pissed at him, and Shaq was like, "What do you want from me? I'm Shaquille O'Neal." I saw a little bit of this, not in the same, because he wasn't Luka, but in my brief time that I was with the Buccaneers, you know who worked less than any other player I ever saw was Warren Sapp. He wasn't in shape. He never lifted weights. He wasn't that strong. He always was kind of fat. And last time I checked, that dude's in the Hall of Fame and just was an absolute wrecker of offenses. And I know for a fact that it bothered coaches that he didn't really work that hard. And his whole thing was, well, what do you want from me? Because I'm going to go out on Sunday and I'm going to destroy game plans. And so, like, what are you going to tell me? There are guys like that. While you do wish they had another gear to them, what are you going to tell someone that's been a 5-time All NBA player, first team? Like it's hard to drill that into his head that he should be better than that. Oh, and by the way, he just led you to the NBA Finals, which goes back to the Russillo thing. Even if you don't love that, shut up, let him smoke his heaters, and you roll him out there and you hope eventually you can convince him as he gets older, but you ride that pony until it bucks you off. You don't trade it for someone who's 6.5 years older that has as many problems as that guy. Now, if you wanted to trade him for a 31-year-old LeBron that spends $1 million taking care of his body and is never hurt and is just a war horse, that I can make sense. But you just traded for an older, brittle Luka who's not as good.
Can I also point out that 2 of the best athletes we have going in American sports have giant dad bods?
Who's that?
Well, yeah, Jokic.
Oh, yeah, Jokic.
And Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Anybody complaining about those guys?
Yeah, when Mahomes got caught with his shirt off, he's like, yeah, you did me dirty.
I mean, you telling me Mahomes couldn't be in better shape? Of course he could. No one cares.
Yeah, it works.
What are we doing?
Well,
there must be something deeper with Luka.
He gets to hide his stuff, at least with the pads and all that.
Just keep throwing dimes.
Just keep throwing dimes and scrambling around with your feminine hips, and no one's gonna say anything.
I think the other thing that makes it even weirder for Luka is like if Luka's game was what Anthony Edwards' game is, right? Where it's really built on his athleticism. And he was drinking and partying. Zion Williams, for example. Zion Williams' game is built on his athleticism and his strength. When he's out there drinking soda and getting fat, it speeds up how quickly he hits that cliff where you are no longer in your prime. Luka plays an old man game.
Yeah, kind of like Jokic.
Luka can play this way until he's 45 if he wants to.
That's fair. Yep. Jokic, same way. It's like you
They
may
go for a
want
long
Jokic
time.
slim down. You may want him, who cares?
Yeah.
Look what he's doing.
That is the best comp, is that neither one of those guys looks like they should be able to do anything, and yet they just go out and they triple double you to death.
It's weird.
And I get it. Luka doesn't play a lot of defense, but welcome to
the NBA.
3/4 of the NBA.
It's absurd.
Damian Lillard was here, and we all loved him. And Lillard was in ridiculously good shape. And guess what? He didn't do. He didn't play defense.
He wasn't very good. But what you do, there have been so many superstar basketball players that don't play good defense.
Yeah.
All you do is just that's how you build around them, is bring in lengthy defenders.
Yeah. And then Luka go for 35 and you'll be fine.
It's not that. I mean, come on. Somebody should hire me as GM.
Well,
got this all figured out.
Dallas may be looking for one pretty soon.
All right. What a weekend next on The Fan. What a weekend we had of sports. Well, not really.
No.
What was less important to you? Punxsutawney Phil seeing his shadow?
I did watch Groundhog Day again because of that, and let me tell you, that movie, delightful.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Good concept.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every day is Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Don't drive angry.
Punxsy saw his shadow.
Yeah.
So 6 more weeks of winter.
6 more weeks.
Where around here, that means like 6 more months. But
yeah, it's not going anywhere.
So what is that more important or less important than Eli Manning and the NFC winning the Pro Bowl games for a third straight year, dominating?
I will say that given my choice between watching, what is it, Nobbler's? Where does Punxsutawney film come out of?
Yeah, it's like Nobbler's Hill.
Nobbler's Hill or whatever. If I had to watch
Gobbler's Knob.
Gobbler's Knob, I think that's what it is.
That sounds dirty, but it's not.
Yeah. If I had to watch a thing on Punxsutawney Phil or let's have it this. I had to go to a groundhog celebration in Pennsylvania or go watch whatever the hell they were doing in the Pro Bowl, I'm taking the hog.
I think I might too.
Yeah.
I did not watch any Pro Bowl.
I did not either.
But I did read that Eli continues to dominate the PBGs.
I did say if you had to bet on it, I said take the NFC. They're a force to be reckoned with, and they did win again.
Are you taking credit for an Pro Bowl bet?
That's right.
Wow.
Mainly because I said Drake May is quarterback in the AFC. So,
well, there was one big viral vid that came out of the Pro Bowl, and it had nothing to do with the Pro Bowl or the festivities of the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
there was one video that I saw that was making the rounds, and it was Marshall Manning.
Yeah, who I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, you knew Peyton had kids, right?
I didn't know his kid was like. Well, I mean, I guess. I wasn't aware of the age of the son, nor was I aware of Marshall Manning, which kind of sounds like Marshall Mathers. But I did see him throwing the ball, and I will tell you what, I could care less about, like, I mean, God, people are freaking out at someone like is he 12, 13?
He's 13.
13. He's throwing like 20-yard fades. Okay. But the way he throws them, his mannerisms, like when you watch Tiger and Charlie Woods, you're like, oh my God, dude, that is a clone of his dad. He moves and throws in the mannerisms exactly like his dad. It's kind of freaky.
Yeah. They're saying that he wowed everyone at the PBGs.
He wowed them?
Well, yeah.
With his...
You see that 10-yard touchdown throw? You didn't see that?
He's standing there against... Yeah, he was throwing to Jamar Chase, and he was throwing like 10-yard fades.
To be fair, I think he was maybe at the 15.
Maybe.
But you might have been right.
Maybe.
He might have been at the 10.
That's if that's the highlight of the NBA weekend or the NFL Pro Bowl weekend.
Well, that's all I saw. And old Arch is over there with his cane. He's looking old.
Yeah,
but
I did see someone had like a pick six.
Wait, not young. I mean Archie.
Archie, the old
guy.
Yeah,
the dad.
Arch isn't walking around for Texas with a cane.
Yeah.
I did see like Buda Baker had like a pick six, and then there was a big foam pit that everyone
so
jumped
you
in.
did see the Pro Bowl games, the PBGs.
No, I saw on Twitter that they were jumping into a big foam pit.
Well, you saw more than I did. I only saw Marshall Manning, and I saw that the Colts tweeted Marshall Manning, man.
That's what we tweeted?
In the video of him throwing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hot Pro Bowl talk. I mean, I guess coming down to the NFL, we got Myles Garrett. I mean, that's something. Myles Garrett doing the NBA thing of I want the hell out. Also, Cooper Kupp getting shipped out of L.A.
Yeah, but Marshall Manning.
So no Cooper Kupp, no Myles Garrett.
Wait, where'd Cooper Kupp go?
The Rams say they don't want him back, so they're going to ship him out.
In the Pro Bowl, did either side blow a 21-point lead?
What?
Hey, that is offsides.
Is it?
I feel like it is.
It went over Sook's head.
Well, Sook doesn't watch college basketball.
I lost money, so I'm mad.
I did too. I had Kansas.
Oh, that was
I had him on the money line, dude.
Me too.
There's no
Buck was
reason
telling
they
me
should have
about
lost
that.
that game. I hate Hunter Dickinson, by the way.
As you should. See, this is why gambling's great. So he is talking about my Kansas Jayhawks.
Yes. Rock chalk.
I too had them on the money line. I'm like, dude, they're Baylor. I've watched Baylor this year. I'm like, that team isn't that good. They were without Jeremy Roach. I'm like, Kansas is going to win this game. Kansas dominated them. They were up 21 points. Okay, 21 points. Do you know how many points that is?
That's a lot of points.
It's 21.
Especially college basketball where they don't score a lot.
Yeah, they held them. Like I think Baylor had 21 points themselves at half.
One would think that that's a safe win.
Kansas lost by 11, dude.
It's not good.
They absolutely gacked.
It's not good.
That's a week after they were beating Houston 18 seconds left.
Yeah.
They were up by 6, going to the free throw line, and lost to Houston.
You have just brought up two of the largest collapses in the history of Kansas basketball, and they've happened basically within a week of each other.
Oh.
I'm not kidding, because the 21-point loss to Baylor was the biggest lead the program has ever blown.
Really?
They have never blown a bigger lead than that.
Interesting. Congratulations.
So Bill Self should write Will Ortner and me a personalized check.
Well, and Will,
At least an apology.
You will appreciate the fact that, because you said you hate Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah. He's old.
I have been watching Kansas basketball with Isaac Robb now for 20 years. I have never seen Robb hate a Kansas player more than he hates Hunter Dickinson.
He's the worst.
He's the worst. It is palpable. Your hate bucket runneth over for him.
This whole team is the worst. I hate them all.
He's like a year younger than me, too, by the way. Like, he's been in college basketball forever. And hands up doesn't mean good defense.
So
you just have your hands up.
I know we talked about Anthony Davis. And, Anthony Davis is a athletic freak, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not trying to compare Hunter Dickinson to Anthony Davis, but what I would say is Hunter Dickinson is the largest basketball player who is the biggest P I have ever seen. Now that could apply.
He's like 7 foot, right?
Yeah, he's huge. That could apply to Anthony Davis.
Yeah, he's like 7'2".
Yeah, Dickinson should dominate. He is such a candy ass, and I cannot stand him. Now, here's a more controversial Kansas. See, you brought it up. Ortner, this is your fault.
Boy, here we go.
I know.
Here's a controversial Kansas take. Duan Harris, for as much as I hate Hunter Dickinson, Duan Harris is one of my all-time favorite Jayhawks. He is the point guard of this team. He all of a sudden sucks.
Is it because Hunter is rubbing off on him? Is he spending too much time
I don't know.
close to Hunter Dickinson?
I don't know, but I'm even souring on him.
Wow.
Listen, I'm here to tell you guys, Jayhawk Nation is souring on Bill Self.
What?
Yes.
And his toupee?
Bill Self is getting some heat.
Interesting.
And there are reasons for that, of which I won't go into here. I'll spare you. But he is not having his best year. They got 3 big-time transfers.
Yeah, and they were preseason number 1, right?
Yeah, because they have not only Duan Harris, Hunter Dickinson, and KJ Adams all coming back, but they added 3 big-time transfers. They're like, oh, my God, this team's loaded.
15-6, 15th in the country.
They're not very good.
No.
They can defend, and that's about it. And those transfers are not fitting in very well. It's a mess. And Bill Self's taking some heat. I sent him an email.
I just like watching Kansas basketball, dude, to see the rage that you have towards the big white stiff.
By the way, 6 minutes, they play against Iowa State tonight.
Oh, boy.
Who's lost 2 in a row as well.
We just got done watching them lose to Iowa State not too long ago.
I know. This is a big one. This is a big one. So you may lose me for the club. As a matter of fact, will you host the club?
I got you, bro.
No, I'll be here. I've got, I want to tell you about Christopher Walken because I find him delightful, just as most do.
As do I. Is there anyone that hates Christopher Walken?
He did an interview in the Wall Street Journal, and some of the facts about him that he revealed about himself, little things, are just great. And they're so on brand.
Wasn't he on the boat when Natalie Wood died? You don't know what I'm talking about?
I know Natalie Wood's story. I didn't know that. If that's true.
Because who's Natalie Wood's husband that basically killed her?
I don't know. Why don't you look that up and we'll come back and we'll do a clip
Robert
together.
Wagner.
Okay.
I think he was on the boat.
6:02 on the Fan.
McCoy at warrenallen.com.
KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, despite asking for a trade from the Miami organization, Heat star Jimmy Butler has made it clear to the Golden State Warriors that he does not plan on signing a contract extension with the team if they trade for him. This essentially stops any trade talks of Butler to the Warriors. The Blazers are taking on the Suns here in about an hour in the Moda Center. Phoenix is favored by 4.5. Total for that game is set at 228.5, tip-off at 7. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp has posted on social media that he was told by the organization that they will trade him over the offseason. Kupp has been with the Rams since they drafted him in 2017. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Slam Dunk in Vegas is our Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Caitlin Clark is white.
Sports is sports. Germany's a great city. I'm gay.
What is the Colorado Rockies?
Smiles and glory holes.
You like that? You like that? Wow, a bola do
Mr. Unlimited.
I'm just about that action, boss.
Smiles and glory holes.
Still can't believe that is something that he says on a regular basis. Smiles and glory holes.
No, I can't. He's an old guy.
I gotta believe that in his office he has a glory hole. I really believe that.
He doesn't know what it means.
Oh, he knows what it means.
No,
Dude,
I don't think he does.
No,
Jerry
he doesn't.
is knee-deep in hookers for the last, 40 years.
That's why he wouldn't need one.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Are you aware of what hookers do?
Yeah,
Joe,
but-
he's got glory holes.
I don't.
No.
I disagree.
I'm with Ordner. He would not say it if he knew what it was. He's just an old senile man.
I have a firm belief that in Jerry's office there's a button and just the hole opens up and he goes over to it. I'm convinced that's like in every in the yacht glory hole. That dude is all about it. Why else are you just randomly going around being thinking of what the best things in the world are?
What?
People say sunshine and puppies, ice cream and rainbows, and he comes up with smiles and glory holes? Yeah, that's not coincidence.
Because it's oil, and that's how you get money. If you're on the glory hole in oil, you've struck the oil.
He's an old guy. All right, so I got Christopher Walken talk here.
Yeah, who, by the way, was indeed on the boat when Natalie Wood was murdered.
Really?
Yeah.
What was he doing there?
Well, they were filming a movie together. So she was married to Robert Wagner, and
Eye Patch Robert Wagner?
Yeah, Eye Patch Robert Wagner, that from Austin Powers. And Christopher Walken was on the boat, and that was when Natalie Wood, everyone's like, I don't know what happened. She just fell off the boat. And then when they pulled her the next morning, she had a bunch of bruises on her, and they're like, I don't know what happened. And she was murdered.
So are you insinuating that Christopher Walken knows what happened?
I think Christopher Walken, yes, has an idea of what happened and has never talked about it. And Robert Wagner was known to get a little handsy. He murdered her. They got in a fight, whacked her, she fell overboard, and then Christopher Walken shut up about it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Walken has always done the I was asleep, and, I had no idea what was going on. Yeah, it was a 58-foot yacht called the Splendor's Captain. So it was Robert Wagner, Natalie Wood, Christopher Walken, and the captain. And
no staff?
No, that was it. Just at least that's what this says. And the captain has said that Wood and Wagner were arguing that evening, which Wagner denied. Okay. And then in his memoir, he did admit that he had an argument with her before she disappeared. The autopsy found Wood's body blood alcohol content was 0.14, and there were traces of motion sickness pills and a painkiller in her bloodstream, and then she had a bunch of bruises on her. And they ruled the accidental drowning and hypothermia. So
Robert Wagner still with us? He's old, right?
He's old. That I don't know if he's still around, but it's a lot of people believe OJ style that we got an idea what happened there.
Well, Christopher Walken did an interview in Wall Street Journal, and it's great because it's a pretty mundane interview. It's just him talking about Severance. You know, they sat down with him because he's in this show called Severance, which is on Apple TV.
And it's right now, it's kind of I think it's the best thing going on TV right now. It's really well done.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
He plays actually a likable good guy.
Yeah.
Which he
Bert.
said, yeah, his name's Bert in the show. He said that's unusual for him, and he's really happy that he's able to finally play somebody who's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Well, he's known for having some edge to him.
So I just jotted down a few notes from this interview. Again, nothing groundbreaking here, but we've talked about Walken a lot in the sense that he's the guy who he's like cooking chicken.
Yeah.
There's
a YouTube video of him cooking
kitchen.
chicken, and you can't take your eyes off of it.
And from his time on Saturday Night Live, he's so good on SNL.
Yeah.
You just can't take your eyes off anything. Like, I would watch that guy driving. I just think he's fascinating.
And he's in arguably the most modern. It's the most famous modern SNL sketch of all time, and that's the more cowbell.
Cowbell.
I mean, you go back. I guarantee wherever he goes, people hit him with the cowbell. That, and it's probably one of the 3 or 4 most famous impressions anyone does is Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's universal.
So a few facts. Well, actually, I should break, shouldn't I?
Where are we at? Oh, yeah, probably.
Okay, I'm going to break. The Christopher Walken facts you didn't know you needed. Does he have pets? What is his cell phone screensaver?
I would like to know more about Christopher Walken. I would also like to, in the confines of Hollywood, there's not many people that I would rather spend a day with, just hanging out and eating and talking, than Christopher Walken.
Well, he may not want to with you.
Exactly.
But remember Craig Gass? We had him in here the other day?
Yes.
He told a great Christopher Walken story.
Yeah.
Walken was less than impressed with his Christopher Walken impression. Congratulations, you're talented.
Again, I'm sure that guy at this point is so tired of people doing his voice.
He's just such a different dude.
Yeah.
Some interesting facts about Christopher Walken next on The Fan.
We're down to 2 with Isaac and Sue.
You know, I always felt I could be a great salesman. Well, believe me, I could talk anybody into anything, except women into sex. That's the only thing I can't do.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Suk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Can I get a hot tub?
Okay, well, we're talking about Christopher Walken because he's awesome, and we love him.
Yes.
So some facts about Christopher Walken that I pulled from his most recent interview with Wall Street Journal. He lives in Westport, Connecticut.
Oh, okay. So not an L.A. man.
Or New York. I kind of pictured him a New York guy.
I could
like
see that.
A high-rise...
Where's he from?
New York City guy. That's a good question. I don't know.
All right, so he's in Connecticut.
Look up where he's from. I bet he's from New York. Because I know his parents were actors.
Well, what is that accent? That seems East Coasty.
Yeah, it does. So he has lived in Westport, Connecticut for 50 years.
He's from, he's from New York.
Yeah, he's New York City guy.
Because
I think his parents were on, or one of them was on Broadway. Maybe.
Yeah, because isn't he like a classically trained dancer?
Yeah, he's a child of the arts.
Yeah, he went to Hofstra, so he's East Coast through and through.
So he's lived in Connecticut for 50 years, right on the Long Island Sound. He married his current wife, who is a casting director, in 1969.
And still together, huh?
They are still together.
That's awesome.
They never have kids.
Georgina here? I see.
Georgina. They've never had kids, and he says that that's one of the reasons that he believes that he had a prolific career is that he never had kids. They asked him
somewhere. Rob's like, yes.
Well, yeah.
Damn kids.
He gets it.
Yeah.
They asked him what his morning routine is. Do you care to guess what he does? I want you to. What do you think Christopher Walken does when he gets up, and what time does he get up?
I'm guessing. Well, he strikes me as an early riser.
He gets up at 6:30.
I feel like there's like some sort of weird exercise routine. I'm gonna say yoga or some sort of band thing. Maybe a walk. I don't know. I picture him like in a headband with some he's part of a Silver Sneakers Club.
He says he gets up at 6:30, but he does not have breakfast because it makes him tired.
Of course.
He will sometimes walk on a treadmill, but the main thing he does is he feeds his cat. His cat is named Wolf, and he likes to chase Wolf around the house. He says it's fun for both of them, which just right there, yeah, I need video.
I could watch him chasing a cat all day long. I mean, again, we need a reality show of Christopher Walken just waking up, walking on a treadmill, and then chasing a cat. Look at the laser pointer.
So he says he feeds his cat. He has OJ and coffee, and then he feeds the birds out on his deck, and then he watches the news. So he's basically like every other 81-year-old person in the world.
I feed my cat and then watch the news. Good.
So then
he's wonderful.
They asked him. How do you watch the news? So he offers up that he doesn't own a cell phone.
Of course.
He has never owned a cell phone.
Of course.
Which is also very on brand for what you think he is.
Yes.
He says when he needs a phone, he just asks to borrow someone else's.
That's a Bill Murray thing as well. He
has also never sent an email.
When people say this, I'm often just stunned. You've been an actor, so you go back to the modernization of cell phones of the last 25 years, and emails. So I mean, he was in his 50s and 60s when this was coming about. You never once have sent an email?
He says he doesn't know how he's never sent one.
So this has to be he just has an assistant, right?
Well, sure.
That does all that stuff.
He's also never owned a watch.
Really?
He says that when he needs to know what time it is, he asks others for the time.
Huh? So he doesn't have a cell phone and doesn't have a watch, although one of his famous scenes is about putting a watch in his keister for 3 long years in Pulp Fiction.
That is
which
true.
Is kind of strange. You would think someone would have gifted the man a watch.
He says that the best acting advice he ever got was from an older actor when he was a younger actor, and they were leaving a set, and he was getting ready to walk out the door, and the actor told him, and he wouldn't name the actor, but he said the older actor said, "Be careful," as he walked out the door.
That's it? Just be careful.
Yes. And Christopher Walken, they asked him about it, and he said, "Well, I have no idea what he meant, but I think about it every day. That's what he said.
Be careful.
Yes, and he has no clue what that meant.
Well, it can mean whatever you want, I guess.
But he thinks about it every
It's
day.
like a Chinese, well, maybe he's careful every day. Huh?
Right?
Chinese fortune cookie sort of thing.
So weird.
Right.
Anyway, he and John Turturro, who is also in Severance, they are best friends.
Really?
Yes, they're besties. They've known each other for over 40 years, he said.
Oh, does it say where they met? That's kind of cute because they play like star-crossed lovers in Severance.
Yeah.
That's cool. I had no idea that they were close.
Yeah, they're buddies. He said that they will talk about everything but acting. They mainly talk about food and restaurants. So, I mean, like, Christopher Walken is like the most normal guy of all time.
Yes. And doesn't that say something for a guy that's been in Hollywood for whatever it is, 50, 60 years, and he's managed to stay this grounded?
I don't know that I would say normal.
Okay, you're right. He's a little eccentric, but
Yes.
he just does normal people things like that. He just talks about, I don't know, you'd think that he's a pretty in-depth, like he's a deep guy, right?
Yeah.
But his life isn't. Like, he's just,
He's very simple.
plays with his cat. He chases his cat.
And maybe that's the key to avoiding any of those, again, the Hollywood pitfalls of, quote, be careful. He's managed to stay married to the same woman for all that time.
Yeah.
Lives away from everybody. Has managed a best friend for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Christopher Walken is just on to something.
He's got it figured out.
He's got it figured out.
And here's the weirdest little fact that he put in there. He said that, so they asked him how he watches the news because they were looking around his house going, you don't seem to have a lot of technology. You don't own a phone. You don't send email. How do you watch the news? He says, well, I have a satellite on the house. But then they asked,
wanted to believe, by the way, that it's one of those satellite dishes when we were growing up.
Totally.
That's like literally like a NASA satellite dish. It's like 7 feet tall. I want it to be one of those.
Yeah. So Severance is on Apple TV.
Yeah.
So they asked him, well, how do you watch Severance?
He doesn't, does he?
He hasn't seen it.
No.
The only way, so he hadn't seen it, and he said that the only way he saw it was they mailed him DVDs of it. So he watches it on DVDs.
And I'm guessing he has a single slot DVD player that he bought or someone bought for him. I'm going to say about 1999.
I mean, come on.
God bless America.
So those are the hot Christopher Walken facts that you didn't know you needed from his interview in the Wall Street Journal.
By the way, if you saw his Connecticut home, it's just...
Am I looking at the right one?
This is his home in Connecticut. It just is...
Are you sure that's it?
Yeah. They said they own more than one home, but this is the residence that they spend the majority of their time at.
Okay, because the one I saw was a freaking mansion, but... You know, like you said, he probably has multiple.
Yeah, it says the couple owns more than one home, but this is, it's a decent sized home, but it's not anything spectacular. And it might be the back of it. This is the back of it where it's like a beach house. I mean, it's a nice house, but it is not what you would, it is not what you would think someone like Christopher Walken lives in. But it's right there on the water, and yeah, this is his house, and he's cooking chicken, and here's his cat. This is making me rekindle my love of Christopher Walken.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's an American treasure.
He is an American treasure, and the world will be worse off when he's gone.
Can you imagine him watching sports? Like, you know, he knows nothing and cares not about sports. You know that he would look down upon chuckleheads like us talking sports. You know, like he's a guy. Like, if you said, "Hey, who could you interview?" Like, of all the people out there, who would you want in studio?
Mm-hmm.
He would be in my top 5.
Oh, 100%.
But there is zero chance it would go well.
Probably not.
I mean, zero.
No. What are we gonna?
Dude, he is so beyond.
And I'm guessing that would be a really tough nut to crack.
Oh my God, yes.
It would be problematic.
By all accounts, he's a tough nut to crack for anybody.
Yeah. Someone asked me my top 5 Christopher Walken movies, and that's tough because so many of his movies he's a bit character, but he's an amazing bit character. The best movie where he's one of the main players is The Deer Hunter, which is unbelievable. It's one of the best movies of all time. But like his Pulp Fiction, to me, is a all-time great movie, and he plays a very, very small role in it, but he's tremendous in that. I think Suicide Kings is one of his best movies where he is one of the main guys. Also, there's a movie called The Prophecy where he plays Gabriel, the angel of death. Phenomenal flick. And he is like built. If you want like Christopher Walken at his scariest, he plays a great. I mean, he's an angel, but he's an angel that you don't want to meet.
Rotten Tomatoes ranked his movies 88 through 1.
Also, too, if you want something a little more modern, I want to say it's maybe 10 years old, give Seven Psychopaths a try. He is phenomenal in that, and that is with like Colin Farrell, and it's really, really well done. And he plays, honestly, I feel like he plays Christopher Walken. He just plays kind of an old guy that loves little dogs and doesn't care about anything.
Do you want to know?
What are
you want to know what they have?
Yeah, what do they got?
Number 1 is Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Annie Hall from 1977.
Makes sense.
Woody Allen movie.
Yes.
Number 3 is The Jungle Book.
Oh, yeah, he plays King Louis.
Number 4 is True Romance. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Number 5 is Ants.
Oh, again, voice actor.
Animated. And then number 6 is Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Deer Hunter number 7. And so on.
He was in, he played...
Seven Psychopaths is number 11.
Seven Psychopaths is criminally underrated. It's one of those, if you're looking for a good movie, check it out. Wedding Crashers, he played a bit part in. I guess it wasn't a bit, but he was really good in Wedding Crashers. I'm trying to think of other stuff that he was, that he kind of played a small part in. There was one that I'm...
Balls of Fury, he's kind of a main person.
Yeah. There's one, I can't think of it. It's with Matthew Broderick, and it's when he was much younger. He plays an Army drill sergeant, and it's really does. It's based on a Broadway play, Biloxi Blues. He plays a really, really good like drill sergeant in the Army going off to World War II. He just is a really, really talented guy.
He's been in 88 movies.
Yeah.
His worst, a movie called Jiggly.
Can't say I ever saw that.
2003.
Yeah.
Bizarre and clumsily plotted, Jiggly is a mess. I'm reading the review here. Yeah. As for its stars, Affleck and Lopez lack chemistry.
That's Geely.
Oh, Geely. Yeah,
that's panned as one of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was in that.
Yeah, he's in there. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, and him.
I did not know he was in that.
Geely. Envy. Kangaroo Jack.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt 2, Beautiful Loser.
Hey, I never saw Joe Dirt 2, but the original Joe Dirt is not so bad.
They have that one.
They made a Joe Dirt 2.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. They have the original Joe Dirt number 84 on his list of best movies.
He threatens to stab someone in the face with a soldering iron, which is pretty good.
Well, hopefully he stays with us for a long, long time because he's great.
Yes.
How worried are you about the big asteroid? Next on The Fan.
This is a Super Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, right now you've got one big matchup of two top 25 teams in college basketball. Number 8, Iowa State is trailing number 16, Kansas, in Allen Fieldhouse right now. It is 12-19. Kansas looking to stop a rough skid. They lost over the weekend on Saturday, dropping a 21-point lead eventually to Baylor. Your Oregon Ducks basketball team fell out of the AP Top 25 rankings after losing both of their games this last week. Their next game won't be any easier. They're traveling to Michigan to take on the 24th ranked Wolverines. That game will be played on Wednesday here on 1080 The Fan. The Blazers take on the Suns tonight in the Moda Center. That's going to get underway here in about half an hour. Phoenix is favored by 4.5. They're looking to get revenge after their loss over the weekend to the Blazers. Total is set at 228.5. Tip-off at 7. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Hot Corner. Club 1080 with Isaac and Suk.
I love scotch. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch, scotch.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Suk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Can I get a hot tub?
Well, some of us are rooting for the big asteroid to hit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Not me.
Team Asteroid. Yeah, there's definitely people that are throwing their hands up at this point and being like, just come take us.
Hey, I like life.
Me too.
We don't need no asteroid.
No, that's my thing. Is
Come on,
like,
man.
I understand things can be going better, and yeah, there's some stuff happening that makes me a little concernicus, but at the same time,
That's right.
We're
fine.
I'll be all right.
We'll all be all right.
I'll be okay. I certainly don't want the asteroid to hit.
No.
I think this was one of the things
We
that
might be
bothered
better
me.
off, though.
What always bothered me growing up in the church a little bit was like, people talk about the apocalypse or like even like the whole second coming thing as like this glorious event, and they're like there's gonna be billions of people that are dead. Like, we have no idea what a global catastrophe is. None whatsoever. Like, we can't handle a wildfire or like a flood, a hurricane. Yeah, look through history what happens when one of these meteors slams into us. That's not like one of those things that like, oh, we're gonna have to rebuild in 6 months or 2 years. Nah, that's like setting humanity back a couple, 1,000 years. It's a whole different ball game. And yet there's people that are like, yeah, it's reset society. Yeah, no. Yeah, nuclear winter for the next 9 years and everyone's starving and dying. Yeah, no thanks. I'm good.
Well, we've got big asteroid news, Jace.
Yeah, it's getting close, right?
An asteroid with the power to unleash an explosion 100 times greater than an atomic bomb has triggered global space agency alarms.
Kind of like what we do here with the big snow blizzard that's coming. We set
That's
the
right.
weather alert.
The odds that the space rock, it has been dubbed Y4, it is nearly the size of a football field.
Yeah. By the way, can't we come up with something cooler than Y4?
Y5?
The odds... Ooh, I kind of like Y5.
There you go.
Like
Y5 coming to kick your ass.
The odds that the space rock could hit Earth is now too close to ignore.
I don't like that.
They warn.
No. I'm going to ignore it anyways, but because what the hell am I going to do? I mean, unless we send Bruce Willis up there to, do Bruce Willis things, and he's in no condition, what chance do we have?
There's a science bro on here named Bruce Betts.
Mm-hmm.
The Spruce Bruce, as they call him at the lab. He says if you put it over Paris or London or New York, you basically wipe out the whole city and some of the environs.
Oh.
So they first observed this asteroid just after Christmas this past year, 2024, in Chile. And I don't really know how they assess the risk on this.
Nor do I.
I mean, it's just smart people doing smart people things.
There you go.
But they are saying that the likelihood of impact stands at 1.6%.
Okay. So that seems quite low, but I'm guessing in the grand scheme of stuff circling us, that's a very high number.
Yeah, I think it's a significant number for them because they're always dealing in 0.000000. But I got to what are the percentages of us in various death scenarios? Because I don't really know what to think of 1.6%.
Well, like the chances of what's something that scares you? Airplane crash?
Yeah.
Car wreck?
Yeah, what's the airplane crash?
All right, let's look at airplane crash.
Because we've had a few of them lately. It's scaring people.
You got 1 in 11 million, so that's certainly less than 1%.
Way less. Okay.
Way less. So you got 1 in a million or 1 in 11 million every time you get on an airplane. Look, I'll tell you this right now. If you told me that I'm getting on an airplane tomorrow and there was a 1.6% chance, right, that plane goes down, guess who's not getting on the airplane? Me. I mean, you can say that's insignificant. To hell it is. If I put a gun to your head and said I get to pull this trigger 100 times, but 1 or almost 2 times in every 100 pulls, that goes off, but like, hey, I'll give you some money. You're not doing that. 1.6% is a significant number when it comes to it's your ass, Mr. Postman.
I agree with that. But yet we won't worry a lick about this asteroid now, will we?
No, we won't. It's not good. Although someone does point out the Bruce Willis meteor was the size of Texas. This is not a global killer. This is a city I'm going to F you up.
Well, it depends where it hits.
That's true.
Is what it's saying. But the likelihood of impact stands at 1.6% and moving at a speed that would meet Earth by 2032.
I got some time.
You got a little time.
I got a little time.
Wouldn't we be able to tell like where it's coming and then just leave?
I think so.
Just leave.
Really?
Just
Did
leave.
You just say
he
just
says.
leave?
Yeah, like if it's gonna hit Paris, like don't live there.
So New York City, you leave?
I would, yeah.
I don't think that's the way that works, and I don't think you
It's a tough one.
I don't think you get that much time to figure that out when something's coming at you at several thousand miles an hour.
Are you in this scientist room?
No, but
So how
I
do
don't
you
think
know?
that's the way that works. I do. I am always fascinated by ancient history, and I like the kind of how we got to be here. And there's a bunch of different theories and all this, but it is alarming how often over the course of human history, not just human history, but the Earth's history, how many times stuff hits us. And like all the science bros are like tell everyone, dude, it's not if. We get hit all the time. We just haven't been around to write it down, or no one's been left to write it down. Like it will happen. Hopefully not in our lifetime, but at some point in the future, someone's going to be on the air doing some sports talk radio, and someone's going to look up and be like, "Oh, well, that's not good. What happened? Half the planet just got eliminated." Like, I mean, it's insane. Or like a super volcano, or one of the big earthquakes hits, and I don't know, California falls into the ocean, or I don't know, half of Oregon and Washington, mountains collapse. Like, we've never been around in modern human history to actually experience a global cataclysm, and yet they happen all the time in Earth's history.
Potential crash sites include the Eastern Pacific Ocean. And as Will says, just don't live there.
Well, I'm guessing the ocean is the most likely to hit because, well, the ocean. It's
pretty big.
It's pretty big. What is it? Is it
Big
3/4
water,
or whatever of the
ocean
Earth?
water.
Sure.
Is the ocean?
They are saying the Atlantic Ocean. So the Eastern Pacific, the Atlantic, the Arabian Sea, and then they just put Africa.
71% of the Earth, by the way, covered in water. So chances are
Also, northern South America.
So don't live any of those places.
Don't live there, and don't live in South Asia.
Then we're good.
So it looks like we're a little too north.
Yeah. So we're fine. Till it hits off.
I don't know how they know that.
Till it hits off the Pacific and it causes the 200-foot tidal wave that comes and washes out in, I don't know, like Idaho.
Well, you've been telling me to move to Nebraska. I'll be fine.
That is true. If you do want to,
what's in Nebraska?
What's happening in Nebraska? If something does hit in the ocean, the tidal wave's not hitting you in Nebraska.
I'll be fine.
Oh, I thought he meant you were telling him to move to Nebraska, like. Just
no,
because.
I complained about
Why?
housing prices once, and I was quickly told to move to Nebraska.
Right.
Well, that is
Suk don't want to hear it.
Well, that is. I hear that from like my kids and everybody. It's like, I'll never be able to buy a house. I'm like, no, you won't be able to buy a house in San Francisco. You can get a lovely 2-bedroom right now in Lincoln. You just don't want to live in Lincoln.
Lincoln's all right.
Good volleyball team.
Can you look up a nice 2-bed in Lincoln?
Yeah, although Lincoln's probably a little higher than you think. I'm thinking more like Tulsa would probably be a nice. Like, you want a big enough city. Okay, so what do we find the most livable city but you're like, no one wants to be there? Is it Lincoln?
Omaha?
Yeah, you want to go Omaha?
I've been to all of those.
Interest you in a Cheyenne?
I bet you can get a really good deal in Cheyenne.
I bet you that.
I'd rather live in Cheyenne.
I've been to Cheyenne. No, you don't.
Really?
There's nothing. Like,
you think there's something in Lincoln, Nebraska besides Nebraska football?
It's a real city. Cheyenne is not. Like, it's there's more buffalo than there is people in Cheyenne. Although they do have the Cheyenne Frontier Days, which is lovely.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna go off the grid, might as well do it somewhere like Cheyenne. It's beautiful.
I can look it up.
That's a little cold though. I'm gonna go warmer. So I'll go Tulsa, but I don't feel good about it.
Right,
Tulsa sucks.
Look at Tulsa Homes.
Very religious.
Oh, I just typed in accidentally. I made the mistake. I typed in Tulsa Hose.
Ooh.
Whoops.
Hey now.
I did not want Tulsa hose for sale. Well, I stopped myself before I hit enter, but don't worry, I'll go back. Take a look at that. Let's look at the old Redfin. Oh, here you go. You right now in Tulsa, you can get a lovely, and this looks nice. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet. $159,000.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Nice place? Like new construction?
Yeah, it looks like new construction.
$159,000?
$159,000. And yes, this does look like new construction or completely remodeled.
Is it one of those like cookie cutter homes? Like
it looks nice.
Where they all have the same
acreage.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
What kind of land?
On 12,000 square foot lot.
Okay.
So still in the burbs.
If you want something that's a little more lived in, you can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 950 square foot home. Again,
That's tiny.
nicely remodeled. Looks all brand new inside. $119,000.
God.
Dude, I could actually put a down payment on it.
And if you want like this is a nice home here, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet. This one is not new construction, but it has been completely redone, and it is nice. $239,000.
Looks like we know where you're going.
I was gonna say, anyone want to hire me to do sports radio in Tulsa?
How long before you're sick of Tulsa and want out?
I don't know. I feel like I'd be living like a king from those prices.
And there's some expensive homes.
Although I'm not very liquid right now.
But here is one so here is over 3,000 square feet, very nice brick on almost an acre, 3-car garage, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, beautiful. Like, this is $1 million home in Portland. Care to take a guess?
Yeah, I think it's probably 375, 4.
Yeah, we're looking at 408.
Yeah.
On a really, really, really nice home in Tulsa.
Look, Ortner, you have options, okay?
Oh yeah, I have
a lot
options.
of places like Tulsa.
Never loved all my options.
Well, that's all I'm saying. Like, I feel bad because I get it. Like, for young people, the idea of home ownership is daunting. My kids talk about this all the time, and I wish that you could just buy a home wherever you want. But whenever I hear people say that, it's always like, I want to be on the coast. It's when you watch Property Brothers, right? It's like our budget is $9. I want ocean views. I want a craftsman. It's like all these things, and it's like, well, I would love to drive a lot of people would love to drive the nicest Mercedes in the world, or you want like a Cadillac Escalade or whatever your luxury car is. But sometimes you got to drive a Honda Accord, and I'm sorry, but the middle of the country is the Honda Accord. So you either can ride an old bicycle and then live where you want to live and be pissed about it, or if you want to buy a home, then especially if you're like a teacher, you can move to other parts of the country and be a teacher.
Yeah, Will, you bitch. What do you think about that? In your face.
I am only certified to sub.
I'm going to look at Cheyenne now. I want to see what Cheyenne's home.
What do you think of that dad talk you just got from Big Sook?
I knew just like when I poked you about Kansas, I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah. Poking the bear. Cheyenne, I'm going to say, boy, it's tiny. Like 20,000 maybe people?
Yeah, there's not a lot of people
What about
there.
Pittsburgh?
PA?
About Pittsburgh.
You know what? Cheyenne is alarmingly expensive.
I bet you Pittsburgh is fairly cheap for a big city.
Well, all these homes, by the way, are on acreage.
Yeah, you get a lot of land out there.
Get a lot of land. But
Yeah.
not as cheap as you would think.
Well,
There's probably not a lot of
I
inventory.
mean, look, I hate to say this.
Oh, here you go. Never mind. You can.
What?
If you go down for like, those were really nice homes that were popping up at the beginning. Again, you can buy a home for $160,000.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll retract my statement then. Okay, we'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
Yeah.
1080 with Isaac and Sue.
Sitting on a cloud of judgment, handing down life lessons to all the sinners.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Double sun power!
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
We got to go?
No. Why would you say that?
I thought we were up against it.
Nah.
My computer's my computer says 6:57, so I was like, whoops, went a little long.
Your computer's wrong.
Stupid computer.
That's why Christopher Walken doesn't have one.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we got caught up in looking at...
yeah, we're looking at real estate in different towns.
You got to move to the Midwest. Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been there.
You want to move to Springfield.
I do not want to move there.
You
I've
do.
been there. That town sucks.
It sucks. But the thing that they have going for it is Bass Pro Shops headquarters is there.
Yeah.
So we just, you and I have a buddy who just moved there, got a corporate job there. And they have kind of I don't know, it's a lot of jobs and a lot of people that make a little money.
Like that's Bentonville, Arkansas is like that.
Kind of like that, but the town of Springfield, but it's in proximity to the Ozarks.
Yeah. Well, you can get a T lakefront house, like dock and everything for like $500,000. And there's some nice stuff.
Did you watch Ozarks the show?
I watched the first season and a half, and then I lost interest.
So if you see the house that they have in that show, and that kind of that area that they film in, that is what the Ozarks is like. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
You can get some,
or it can be.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of value in the middle part of the country that people don't want to.
If you like mosquitoes,
and flat land,
humidity,
it's your spot.
Hey, but if you want a nice house,
that's right. Will
pay accordingly too.
That's true too.
Like teaching down there would not make it easier for me to get a house.
Well,
not necessarily.
It's all relative,
Teachers out here,
you'll make less, but you'll pay less.
Right, but teachers out here, like, they make enough money to have good houses. Teachers do just fine.
They do. That is I'm all for paying our teachers, but I will say that the whole teachers don't make any money thing.
Depends on the state.
It's getting better. Yeah, it depends on the union and
especially like
Washington teachers do better than Oregon teachers.
There's like principals and especially like athletic directors and stuff. They're doing just fine.
Well, athletic director positions aren't really there, at least not at the high school level.
I had a buddy of mine that in my jiu-jitsu class that had to cross the picket lines today for the nurses.
Oh yeah,
hadn't had a check in over a month. Said he can't do it. He said it sucked, but he crossed today.
That's rough.
Yeah, just
is this Providence? It's still
Providence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it's been going on for months.